Welcome to checking in number 13 or something like that.
15.
I don't know.
Number 15.
15. Oh my gosh, we've been doing this for a minute.
Get your stats right.
All right, we have Jessica obviously in the house today, so you guys can get a little more perspective of what's going on here. We're going to just kick it off right off the rip.
Let's do it.
Because the title is going to, let's just talk about the title right now and why we said it.
Yes.
We believe the title of this podcast, Noah and myself believe that we are predicting the future on this podcast.
Whether it be on accident or on purpose, that is not for us to choose. But the future has been following.
Enlighten us all.
So what we talk about today will probably happen next week.
Well, I hope not. So let's just not get too risky.
So let's back up for a second.
Back it up because I'm confused.
So if you remember, I had this crazy prediction. 8 weeks ago, in the very first, maybe second or third podcast. Yeah. And the prediction was that there would be no doctors in the future.
We would have no use for doctors.
No use for doctors.
There's no doctors now?
Well, no. See, number one, I wanted to first say that I apologize to all of the people in the medical field because I was wrong.
Yeah.
And the virus happened, and now doctors and nurses are in bigger need than ever. And we proved that we could not live without doctors and nurses. Not that I thought we could live without. I just thought that AI, what I had mentioned in the past was the fact that you go to a doctor now, and before they do their doctor thing on you, whatever the hell that was.
They do that doctor thing.
But now they just sit there with an iPad and they just ask you questions. They enter in your answers, and then it pops up. And I thought, well, why do you need them? You just,
Well,
but now it's apparent that I was wrong. So basically the future.
I'd say so.
I'm not saying I'm responsible for the coronavirus. I'm just saying.
Well, we know that.
I don't know. I don't. Well,
maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. I'm just saying. I
travel all around the world.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I could have infected a lot of people.
But that was just the starting ground of all this.
That was the starting ground.
The real part that convinced us that this is factual.
Yes, was last week.
Dad, you brought up aliens, right?
I brought up aliens.
Do you guys believe aliens? Blah, blah, blah.
And you guys poo-pooed me, by the way.
Poo-poo. Well, I didn't poo-poo.
I did not poo-poo either.
I wasn't here. I believe in aliens. So.
See, Jessica's on my side.
Well,
I listen. I hear all the podcasts she listens to.
I do as well. But, I was just wiping a little bit. And then recently, what was this, a day or two ago? The Pentagon released some information.
What did they release?
Can you look this up, Jay? Pull this shit up right now.
He's already got it.
It's Pentagon releases the UFO tapes. Now,
UFO tapes?
So this comes from essentially like Navy fighters, and there's 3 tapes of unidentified flying objects. This is, of course, a commercial, but they don't know what they were. And these are craft that were on radar and on camera from an F-15.
So this isn't like Zach Bagans stuff.
No. This is from the Pentagon. And basically, what happened was there was a guy that worked for the Department of. This is it right here. This is the craft right here, and it's moving in. This is like 3,000 miles an hour right here. Some crazy stuff. But a guy that worked in the Department of Defense actually outed that.
I did not see. Okay. I did not see what you were talking
about.
Well,
it doesn't look that impressive.
Okay, that little black dot.
Yeah, that little black dot. But I think that was like 300 feet across, if I'm not mistaken. They were saying something about that. Anyways, point is, doesn't matter. Guy in the Department.
It does matter.
It does matter. What, the 300-foot part or what?
Yeah, those are important details.
Okay, do we have those details?
No, I mean, I'm not saying that we do, but I think that does matter.
Well, no, they did release those details. I just don't know where they're at.
The government just told us the shit's crazy.
Why
it's real.
did they
didn't
release
they tell
this?
us that last year? Like, didn't they release some stuff last year?
They've been slowly releasing things. This was the most dynamic. Now, this was actually filmed in like 2008 or something like that. But what ended up happening was a guy that worked for the Department of Defense somehow went through all this political paperwork to get them to release it. Now, so he had it back in September. There was actually a show on Travel Channel
that's
somewhere that
I thought I saw that footage before.
You did see the footage.
You on TV.
Right. Yep, we've seen a bunch. But what it was the Navy said that it was. They didn't say it wasn't credible, but they did not say it was theirs. They finally came out and said, yes, that was ours.
Oh, okay.
So now they basically said the footage that's basically been out there since about September is now validated by the Pentagon. Now, whether or not what it is, we don't know. The only thing they've said is that this isn't ours. It isn't, and they could be lying to us.
Isn't there aircraft, you mean?
Right. They're saying,
Isn't it?
It's their footage, not their aircraft.
Well, the one thing they said is that it accelerated from like almost standing still to 3,000 miles an hour in like a second.
And then also it's rotating.
It's rotating.
It's like it goes from this and then it goes rotating. Like what the hell?
Yeah, who knows?
We can't do that.
No.
It's also a convenient time to release this.
Right, because no one's talking
There's so
about
much panic in the world of other
Yeah,
stuff.
it's not going to get any worse.
That it just goes
and
under the rug.
They've got everybody under.
Right. They're like, yeah, guys, everyone's dying. And by the way, there's aliens.
Yeah.
But don't worry, the dispensaries and liquor stores are still open.
Yeah.
So go drink.
It's funny you say that because it was actually a tweet that I saw about the Pentagon releasing. It was on Twitter, you know, and it was the guy says, you know, we're living in a weird time when the Pentagon admits UFOs and we don't even talk about it. Like it's just like it's like, oh, what happened there, you know? But anyways, point is that who knows what next week will bring.
It was just funny that we talked about it last week and then this week, you know, our government said something about it. It was just funny.
Yeah,
we're not actually. You know,
no, I think we are.
Nostradamus or whatever.
No, I think that we have to be very careful about what we talk about.
The government is following our podcast and very closely.
I hope not.
Yeah,
we might be in some trouble.
No, it's what it says. Is Lori drinking wine? Yes, Lori and Jessica are both drinking wine. What are you drinking, Jessica?
Yeah.
Right now, we're both drinking a
autumn cranberry.
Yes,
local.
from a local Blake's Winery, which is
this
very
is a go-to.
delicious.
Yeah, and then I have a Moscato that looks like a water bottle.
Yeah,
I thought that was Voss.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
it looks like
really
a Voss.
did.
I was very confused because I thought she was bringing wine.
Never tried it. We'll see how it is.
Jesse just really quick just said my favorite podcast. Love you guys. Thank you so much, Jesse. Another Jesse. Oh, same Jesse.
Same Jesse.
Same Jesse.
Said,
I guess that is a double. So thank you, Jesse. We really appreciate you tremendously. So yeah, I think that we just have to be a little bit careful. But this being said. That being said,
about what we say,
because I think they're, you know,
I just think
that's
we have
funny.
to be careful.
That's so funny. I love
because
that.
Lord only knows what the government will do.
Yeah,
there's another show I listen to that has like a death curse. So like anytime they talk about somebody famous that's a little older or something, they die. Like
really
shortly after. Yeah. So be careful, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't know what our thing's gonna be.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that
be
because I remember years ago, and this is so horrible that I'm going to say this, but I
can't
remember
wait.
years ago we used to have a Deadpool, like not before Deadpool was out. We used to have remember we talked about that in the reptile community, who would die first.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, we always said Pete Call would be the
I know,
top of the
he's
list.
still
and he's
kicking.
still going
He
around.
is.
Yeah, and he's a
Sometimes
younger guy. He's only like 50-ish.
Oh, but he lived
he lived hard,
Yeah.
man. He's lived hard. He's lived, and we always said like if this is a guy that would literally like take a, we were at his house. I got to tell the story real quick. We were at his house. He's in Baltimore, Maryland. You know, he's the first guy that bred piebald ball pythons. First guy that bred call albino boa constrictor. So he was balling. I mean, making fat money. I mean, just huge money. And he had this barbecue at his house that we were invited to, and literally had just bought a brand new GMC Jimmy. Literally bought it. Got hammered, and I guess this was a really normal thing. This is like 3 days old. Got hammered and went bahaing in his backyard, running over trees.
What? I don't.
Totaled his entire entire thing like 3 days on. He also was down in Florida at a reptile show, and it was on like the 9th floor of a hotel room. Threw TV out the window.
Yes.
Did like $40,000 worth of damage to the room.
Awesome.
So
What a man.
He was
amazing.
like he was living the rock star life.
Well, yeah.
he was a
Sure,
rock
he
star.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
Those lives are the ones that I can appreciate the most because I'm not gonna do that because I'm scared of dying like that. I want to do things before I
No,
do
he
that.
was
Fun to watch that.
It is fun to watch,
Yeah.
right?
Live
Exactly.
vicariously
Yes.
through them.
Right.
Do you remember this, Lori? That was a Daytona reptile show, and Pete flew down, and actually I remember the story because he told it to me. He said literally, he goes, he wasn't going to go because he was like, I don't do reptile shows, you know, whatever. And he said literally, he goes, I was driving with a friend, and we were like 10 miles away from the airport. And we just dropped our car off and got on a plane and flew to Florida. He said we didn't plan anything, didn't have any luggage, anything. We just went in, bought a ticket, flew down there,
That's
rented a Corvette. No insurance, destroyed it. Totaled it.
That's not fun.
Well, then, but did they have money to like pay for it or
Oh
like?
yeah, he had so much
Okay.
money. Yeah, he was balling back then. You
Okay,
know.
okay.
So that was my point.
Actually,
That
one
makes
more
sense,
story
then.
that I do remember is we always went to this one steakhouse when we were down
Oh,
in
yeah,
Florida.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
he
God.
had a group there, and then we came with a group,
Oh,
and
is
then
this a
his
bad
group
story?
left,
Yeah, and we got stuck
and they
with the
left
check.
us with the bill.
Yeah, we got stuck with the check. Well, he did this. Yeah, he did this. He did this
Oh my
another.
God.
He did this another time to me that you weren't there. Actually, we were in Florida. You weren't there, and he comes in with his friend. He's like, "Hey, man, I'll come for dinner," and I'm like, "Absolutely." Comes in, his friend orders $200 worth of appetizers and splits. Splits.
Why did he do that?
I just don't think that's just who he is.
Exactly.
Does he just not think about it, or is he
The
trying
other-
to fuck with you?
Oh,
That's what, like-
no. I think
Okay.
people did that to him all the time
Yeah.
too. You
And
know, I
he's
think
just
he's
like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure-
Like,
Not a
it
big
wasn't
deal.
like exactly.
Yeah, he was a baller. I'm sure he was paying for stuff as
Right.
much
He's
as
like,
anything.
Brian got this.
Yeah, but there's the thing that the Pete Call was like a legend. Well, is a legend in the reptile world in a lot of ways, and it's a shame that the newer people in the reptile industry don't know Pete because everyone had an amazing Pete Call story. Like,
Well-
I mean, it was like everyone had that story. I remember. I'll tell a couple.
We should get him on. We should get him on, and
Oh
we
my
should
gosh, that's a great
expose
idea.
those people to the world.
I wonder if he would. I guess he would be.
That would be.
Pete would be a great. I mean, especially so the last time I saw Pete, it was 10 in the morning. I pulled up to Maryland to film at his collection. This is 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And now he doesn't have very many snakes. He has some, but not that many. He's kind of out of it. But I pulled up. It was about 10 in the morning, and he lives in a 10,000 square foot log cabin. Okay.
Oh wait, the whole thing
Yeah.
is a log
whole
cabin.
thing is a
Yeah.
log cabin, 10,000
so
square
nice.
feet, 20-foot
Whoa.
ceilings.
Holy
I'm talking
cow.
like balling,
How
man.
many- Yeah, that's.
This is, I mean, multi-million dollar, $4 or
Yeah.
$5 million house.
How many acres?
Get this. So it's in a subdivision of Baltimore that they built $1 million homes on these 2-acre plots, but they had to have 105 acres as a preserve.
Okay.
So he bought the 105 acres. So he has 105 acres. Yeah. And so he has a 4-car garage.
Yeah.
Each bay of the garage has a 60-inch flat screen TV on it. So when you pull up in your car, there's a 60-inch flat screen TV. So I pull up at 10 in the morning,
So funny.
and he's in his garage and he's working on his motorcycle, his dirt bike, because he was really into that. By the way, he broke his back once, was paralyzed for 4 months.
Oh my
But
god.
and then was right back out doing it again. You know.
well, good for him that he got back.
That's why I'm saying he was on the top of my Deadpool.
Yeah.
Anyways, 10 in the morning, I pull up. He's 4 Long Island iced teas into the day.
At 10 a.m.
10 a.m. 4 Long Island iced
Wow.
teas.
Ooh, that's
So,
And those are sneaky hitters too. Like,
Yeah.
They'll
Need
creep
one
up.
of those.
So
Apparently not.
Pete was great. Pete was great, and I love Pete. I'm not trying to degrade.
Oh, no,
him at all,
yeah.
but certainly he was.
He was always a lot of fun.
I would love to have him on. Like, I think that because we've talked about this in the past, exposing the legends
Yeah.
of the reptile community.
Yeah.
And, there's never been a perfect way to do it. What's more perfect than a long form conversation?
Yeah.
I agree. I think that would actually be a lot of fun.
Podcast.
Because
Yeah.
we talk
I
about
didn't
that
think
with
about
like
that.
you guys and
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
People that we've
I'd
been
love
friends
to like
with
actually hear from them and
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
stories.
Exactly.
from you guys.
Friends that we, I mean,
and this
we,
is a-
because we were in kind of at the infancy.
Yeah.
And then we saw with all of these people. So it would be cool to kind of like reconnect
Yeah.
with a lot of them
Yeah.
and relive
Well,
the old
it's
stuff.
funny. I
It'd be
talked
fun.
about doing a video series, but like you said, I think this is
Yeah,
better.
I think
I
so
agree.
Because
too.
I talked about doing Legends of Reptiles,
Yeah.
but
Right.
if we did the
Legends podcast.
yeah, podcast
That'd
would be way
fun.
better. But Pete would be, and you can only imagine. I know so many stories.
Oh, there's
you know,
so
yeah, like there's this guy Amir from.
I remember
you
Amir.
Yeah, Amir is from Yellow Belly Ball Pythons. Produced first Super Stripes, Yellow Belly. He's still around. Ben
Yeah.
Siegel auctions he works with, stuff like that. He's a good friend of ours, and I'll never forget the story. Him and Pete were good friends, and so there was the Tinley Park Reptile Show or Daytona. I can't remember what show it was that it was, but it was one of the big shows. And Amir shows up with a black eye. And so what he said, he goes, and everyone has this Pete Call story. Everyone has this Pete Call story, because there was definitely the dark, blackout Pete Call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, blackout Pete Call. And so I guess they're partying.
Yeah.
The night before Daytona, they're partying, and they're getting drunk and all this other stuff. Next thing you know, Pete beats the shit out of them. Just beats the shit out of them.
That's great.
Wake up in the morning, they're best friends again.
Yeah.
Like
Dude,
nothing.
what the
nothing.
Crazy stuff happens at the reptile shows.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And before and after.
Yes.
But that seems to be what. So I always, when Pete started to get to that point,
Yeah.
I would always dip out. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm out.
But that's like a
good.
thing that guys do for some reason. Me and my friends used to do that too. It's
Beat
like
each
what-
other up?
Well, yeah, we'd be hanging
never
out,
did.
and then it's just like, yo, fuck you, and it's just like, all right, let's go in the front yard, and then we punch each other in the face, and then afterwards we're like, all right, hug it out. We're like, good fight, let's go back inside.
I never really did that. By the way, Judy in Vermont says, good to see Jessica.
Oh, hey, Judy.
Yeah. So, and then I got a couple more. I'll catch up just really quick, just so we don't get too far behind on super chats as we're going here. Heavenly Knees, our girl. It's so funny because one day I'll probably say that name right. But hey guys, it's so good to see Jess on the podcast. Much love. And by the way, she's always great to us. She supports us not only through the podcast but also every day, every morning. She comments on the vlog.
I've heard her name around. The
Yeah,
office.
Yeah.
It's actually Heavenly.
It's one you
Heavenly
remember,
Ness.
Heavenly
It's
Knees.
Heavenly Ness, but I always call her Knees.
I think
because
it's Beth usually like telling me about her.
I don't know how to pronounce this.
The Reaper Wolf.
Well, the Reaper Wolf is
There you go.
I'm government and I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I'd love to meet Pete, just a corn snake from a breeder in Baltimore. Yeah, Pete is a legend, and we'll bring him on for sure because I didn't think about that. There's we talked about, Pete is a great one. We talked about Brian Potter. By the way,
Right.
just one last one. Just thanks for the great birthday shout out vids. That's awesome.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
we've been doing
Larry.
a lot of.
Thanks for doing them.
Yeah, thank you. We've been doing
appreciate
these
it.
shout out vids, which are really a lot of fun. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for supporting us. We've talked about Brian Potter, of
Yeah,
course,
that'd be
coming
fun.
on from their, another. Pete and Brian were, as a matter of fact, that's how I met Brian was through Pete.
Yeah.
So Brian
I
is.
met Brian. Brian's fun.
Brian is fun. He's not as violent.
Exactly.
I like
he's
them.
fun.
I like Brian's place. We went to his
that's
place.
Right. Yeah, Reptile House,
I
Chicago
don't
Reptile
re-
House. Yeah.
Yeah, we
he's
just
got the
on one of our
aquarium.
trips we
Yeah.
stopped by his
Yeah.
place.
He's got the aquatic place.
Right,
too.
that's it. It was
Yeah.
like it was cool.
Yeah, there's like aquatic, there's birds, and then
Right.
yeah, because you like that was when you were wanting to get a bird.
Right, that's
Remember?
what made me start wanting to get birds.
Yeah.
Was like
when
I
you
took a
get
picture
your
with
own
one
place, oh my God,
That's
you
right,
can
you
have
did
so
take a-
many birds.
Are you gonna get a bird?
of them. Well, this was years ago,
Okay,
and like
okay.
I still want one deep down, but like
But then
Eric-
he sees
well,
Eric and Mary, and
like,
he's like,
honestly,
maybe not.
yes, because they tell me how hard it is. and,
Every
like,
person I've ever known with birds, they love them.
Right.
But they will tell you
They're-
don't get them.
exactly. It's like I want one, but it's just like not right now.
The best way
Yeah.
to get a bird is like Bernsey had his birds. It was a loft over the garage with the birds in it.
Yeah.
And then you remember they had his own room. He had an African gray and,
Yeah.
and as a matter of fact, this is I always talk about this, and maybe it was a mistake, maybe it wasn't a mistake, but he offered me a hyacinth macaw for
Yeah.
free. For
I
free, was going to give it to
know.
me. Those are like $20,000 birds.
For free.
For
he was just
free.
like,
It's
please
It's
just
not
take
about,
it.
no, it's a freaking hyacinth macaw. Where the hell was it
Beautiful.
gonna
So
go?
cool.
Dad, I would have like
Jay, can you
No,
pull
you
up
wouldn't.
hyacinth
You
macaw?
wouldn't.
Did you offer
You
it for
would've
the
been-
Reptarium?
you would've been-
or-
no,
I
this
don't
is
know. This was in
way
my
back.
Okay, way
this is
back.
Way
Way
back.
back, yeah.
It's H.
It might even been probably before you were
Hyacinth.
before you-
Hyacinth macaw. It's macaw. Macaw.
Jay's typing like me.
And then if you go macaw and then go M instead of PH.
Clean your glasses, Jay.
There you go. Yay. We got it.
Oh,
Look at that
wow.
bird.
That's
Look at that
beautiful.
bird, man.
Yeah, but that was the one that hated Sue's.
Yeah, she hated
What?
it.
Yeah. No, she didn't hate it. It hated her. Like they're very weird and they
Yeah,
pick
they
on
love it.
they
people,
pick people.
and they did not. He did not like her.
That is
Look at
Was it
beautiful.
an adult?
That
It's
thing
probably
was
better
beautiful.
you didn't take it because
Oh,
like
yeah.
when they're adults, like
No.
they gotta bond to you and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, and when they get jealous
Yeah.
and they'll want to bite, like they
I
love
remember
you.
when Eric and Mary got theirs Peaches, he was wanting to mate with Mary. So
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
So that's fun too.
Yeah.
And then Peaches also bit a hole through Eric's ear
I
And his
saw
finger.
that.
and finger, and like
I think
this
the
is
ear more than once too.
and this is Peaches, like just a little
Yeah.
whatever.
Do you see the
It's
difference
not
in the beak size?
Right, if it was
he
a
also
macaw.
has like an underbite or an overbite, so he can't bite you that hard.
Yeah.
So like I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
imagine
Could you
what it would be
imagine?
like
Oh,
if he was
no.
biting you with a full.
When I was
beak.
in
Right.
Bali, do you remember that? You weren't there, but I mean, remember me telling you about it. I was in Bali, and then we went to this bird zoo, and it was
Okay.
it was, by the way, a super cool zoo, all birds, and they pulled out this red bird. I don't remember. It was a parrot. I don't know what it was. I'm not that good at birds, but it bit my lip, and I still have a scar on my lip
Oh,
from
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like
I do
remember we talked
remember
about
that,
we have a
yes.
scar from
Hockey.
hockey. I also have a scar from a bird.
The other.
Wow.
So each side.
Each side has a scar, and it bit me
Nice.
so hard. And I remember them being like so nonchalant about it, like, "Oh, it's not that big a deal." I'm like, I should probably get a stitch or two. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
I didn't get. It bled for like a day. It literally bled for like the
It
entire
couldn't
day.
clot.
It
You're
couldn't.
fine,
Yeah.
you're
And yeah, they were just like, oh yeah, it just got, and it grabbed me and wouldn't let go. You know what I mean? It was like, by the time it let go, it had ripped my. So
Sounds
yeah.
like the leopard.
I was
horrible.
just gonna say that. Yeah. Speaking of what?
Oh my gosh.
Jessica had a similar issue on Monday. I
Yeah,
believe.
let's hear that. I want to hear the
Monday? I
story.
think it was like Saturday.
Oh.
Like,
I think it was,
I was
yeah.
just switching mails,
Yeah.
and one of them grabbed a hold of my finger, and I've got it wrapped up. So you
Yeah,
can
it's
see it, but,
obviously
like,
bad.
There's a hole in my finger now.
It's bad.
Have you guys ever seen Black Swan, that movie?
Yeah,
I've-
well,
I
So
haven't
there's
I've
that
heard
scene
of
where
it.
she's like digging at her like cuticle and it rips up. That's
Oh.
kind of what it was like when it
Oh
happened.
man.
It was like he
Ooh.
grabbed my finger and did an alligator roll and ripped it
Yeah.
all the way
Oh
up
my
here.
gosh! All I know is
Oh
I
my
saw the.
God.
I didn't see it. I mean, I was there, and you and Beth were fixturing it up and stuff like that. But I saw the picture on Instagram, and I was
Yeah,
like,
that's what I
that's
saw
a lot
too.
worse than I thought it was gonna be. I mean, you unfortunately males do
Well-
bite you a
Well,
lot.
it just got me in a bad spot too.
Yeah.
Like they're usually not that bad. Like I've
Yeah.
never gotten bit like that from a female.
Well,
Yeah, that's-
speaking of,
Oh, that was a female.
No. This
Oh, that was a male.
That was
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say.
I was just saying for anyone out there that has leopard geckos, don't worry.
Yeah.
It probably won't.
Yeah,
bite
that's
you
not
like
a
that.
pet thing. It's a breeding thing. You know,
Yeah.
basically what happens is
Males
you
get
have,
aggressive.
well, right, you have maybe a male scent on your hand as you're switching
Mm-hmm.
the next male, and that male is getting aggressive.
well, speaking of like wounds and stuff, I know you have a past hobby that you
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Have you done that recently where
No,
you've
it's
done
been
the
a- it's been a
Suspension.
couple
hooks?
years.
What's that
It's been a
called?
couple
Suspension.
years.
It's suspension.
Hooks.
where you like
Suspension, yeah.
hook suspension? Like,
Yeah.
what made you get into that?
Hey, Jay, can you pull up hook suspension just so people see what?
So
uh,
you remember Anthony when he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
His ex-girlfriend actually had like a team or whatever or
Oh,
group
okay.
that was doing it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, you have to have a team of people. You have to have someone that knows how to
Right.
rig. You have to have someone that knows how to pierce.
oh my gosh, sheesh, oh Pete.
Shit! Are you kidding me? Would
I
you
know.
do
I've
your
never
face
done-
like that?
I hope
I
not.
just did the one where it's like two in the back. The one where
Yeah,
it's
so
like
two
on
in
your
the
face
back,
and
yeah.
stuff is a little much for me.
Dude.
Yeah, so you kind of see
Can-
that guy's over here.
I know. All right, so that is pretty gruesome. I'm not gonna lie, but imagine how badass that would be if you were a rock star and you came out on stage
sure
from
somebody's done
suspension.
Someone probably
Yeah.
like,
Like
like
that?
a metal show or something.
You
like
know,
Marilyn
I was
Manson.
gonna say, didn't Manson? He probably
No,
had one
actually,
of those,
you guys
right?
may not remember this, but Dave Navarro on Ink Masters finale did it.
Oh, I
He
do
came out
Really?
in
remember
suspension.
that.
Yep.
Yes, because we were. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we talked. Oh wow.
Yeah, he
That
came
is
out
right.
on a suspension.
There we go.
Yeah, so yeah, that's not for the faint of heart.
I just like thought that was interesting because
So
like you never
clearly-
talk about it.
Well, anyway, I was into it to do it, but also I
Mm-hmm.
was like learning how to do the piercing and all of that.
Wow.
So,
Mm.
but
Ugh.
I kind of fell out of it with that group
Yeah.
of people or whatever. So it's been a while.
Oh, there's
since
Navarro
I've
right now.
Gone out and done it.
So he obviously just does it for fun.
It's
then.
just
Yeah,
yeah.
he's into it, man.
So it clearly does not hurt the way it looks like it
It's
would.
gotta
Actually, the
hurt.
leopard gecko bite probably hurt worse.
Oh yeah.
What?
Wow, that's
Wow.
that's
Well, I'm
crazy.
sure because
Well,
you
you're
wouldn't
not
do something that hurt
expecting-
that
yeah.
bad. Like, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't
I've
know.
got piercings, and the piercings didn't hurt any worse than any other piercing I've ever
Right.
had.
Ugh.
And then
And
your
then once
body
it's
releases
in-
a lot of endorphins and stuff
Yeah.
to deal with
True.
the pain. So,
Because I'm not gonna lie, like
Doesn't
as a
hurt.
That is
kid,
true.
like do you ever do like the needle through your fingertips or that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
yeah,
Because
Skin.
but yeah, but that's
Well,
that's
it's
just a little
I'm
bit,
just
but-
Yeah.
saying, like it's probably similar to where like once it's done, it's done. But then I
yeah,
can't imagine
it
the
kind
pressure
burns
of like
a little bit for a
hanging.
minute when you get off the ground, and that's the hardest part is like getting from letting go of the ground.
But then once
Yeah.
you're up there,
How
like,
does-
yeah.
So when you're
my
like
gosh.
up there hanging, like how does it feel? Does it feel like zero gravity or?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So
Wow.
it's actually kind of fun, like to swing around and stuff like that.
my
Feels like you're
gosh.
flying.
Jesus.
That's cool.
That's cool. No,
No,
you should,
I think that's
You
Cool.
want to come do it? We could. I
Well,
know a couple
that's the thing. I
places.
don't think I could, but I think it's cool. Like
Yeah.
I can
Wow.
imagine the feeling being cool, but
Yeah.
it's scary.
Wow, that's insane.
Well, your
yeah.
skin, rips happen occasionally, but your skin is like your most strong organ.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
Rips.
I mean,
So
it
as long
heals.
as you're
It always
doing
heals.
As long as you
in the
have
right
someone
way.
that knows what they're
Yeah.
doing and
Because I
pierces
imagine
you
if
right.
you,
yeah.
right, if you didn't do it right, then it would rip. Because
Just like tattoos. If
Yeah.
you don't go to the right layer of skin,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work.
Yeah, I would have. I'd be like Yeah, I wouldn't even.
No, you
ugh.
wouldn't even see
No.
it, let alone do it.
No, I couldn't do
You'd
that,
run
man.
screaming.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually what I started my Instagram for. Was just
Yeah, hooks
for
and things.
that.
Yeah,
clearly,
hooks and things,
because
yeah.
Because my
name, right.
family, and like, I didn't want to freak all of them out. Like,
Yeah. Which, by the way, yeah, give her some love over at Hooks and Things.
Yeah.
She says, Strudel Monkey says, my grandma got bit by a black adder years ago, and she is not. She is. I'm assuming saying is now not. Terrified of snakes. Do you have any tips on how to get her over her fear? You know, it's a tough one. You know, the thing that's interesting about that statement is that not saying your grandmother didn't get bit by a black adder. I don't know if she did. But everyone seems to have that same story, you know, that they either got, just today I had a tour where the mom said she wouldn't buy a snake because someone had thrown a snake on her when she was younger. And I don't know if it did that, maybe it all happened to everyone, but it seems to be a very common story that I either got bit by a venomous snake or I got, you know, my son threw something
Can I
at me.
interject on something? I was listening to a podcast earlier with T.I., and he said everyone goes through different paths to achieve like the same thing, right?
Right.
And so I remember being a kid, being a little asshole, and doing things to girls, you know, tormenting them. I'm sure that if there was a garter snake around, I may have thrown one at her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't
I
happen.
would
like-
say my aunt is terrified of snakes because my dad did that. He like would chase her with.
And I think
garters
Right.
there's
and stuff.
I guess what I'm saying is and again, I'm by no means am I saying, and I'm going to talk about what we can do
Yeah,
about
yeah,
her
yeah.
fear. I'm not saying your grandmother's a liar. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that at all. What I'm saying is that
Maybe she could
there's
buy
a-
something, but it wasn't a death adder or whatever.
Well, not
yeah,
even
but
that.
I don't even. Yeah, but my point is that I hear a lot
Yeah.
of people that get bit by venomous snakes
Yeah.
that are like, I'm afraid because I was bit by a copperhead or a cottonmouth or something
Yeah.
like that. And I just wonder. I mean, maybe it's all true,
Right.
Or maybe it's the same thing about my snake is sizing me up, and I took it to the vet, and they said that it was going to try to eat me,
Yeah.
which we know is a wives' tale. So my point is, regardless, she's afraid of snakes. That doesn't matter what got her to that point.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are afraid of snakes, and what you have to remember is that the opposite of fear is knowledge. So if you can educate her on the fear of snakes, and then exposure therapy, right? You know, so you get this, like, if she's really afraid where she can't even watch them, then you have to slowly get her to watch them or see a picture of them or something like that. When she gets to that point, then maybe be in the same room with them, then eventually touch one, then eventually see someone else hold it, then eventually she can hold. So it's this slow process of exposure therapy.
It's so funny that you said that, because that is exactly what happened with me and tarantulas.
Right, yeah, exactly.
In high school, I swear to God, biology class, a picture of a tarantula on the paper would freak me out.
Sure.
I would get scared from the page of paper.
Yeah.
Right? And then obviously I graduate. I'm around here. We have tarantulas here. I see Bruce handling them. I'm like, oh, like you're weird, dude. Like, you're weird. But then I'm seeing him holding him. He's like, no, dude, it's really cool. Like, look at this giant one I'm holding. I'm like, holy crap. Like, yeah, that little one's not so bad. And then eventually over time, I'm like, okay, I'll hold it. Yeah, this isn't so bad. Yeah, just
it's exposure
exposure
therapy.
therapy.
And
you're
Now
right.
knowledge.
you're doing in
you
the
know,
box challenges.
Right.
with
Yeah,
them.
and
Right.
knowledge, obviously. I actually showed Jessica today a pretty cool tarantula. I didn't show you guys, by the way, but I showed
I
her.
already saw.
What
it.
kind?
Oh, you saw it?
I haven't.
Oh, you sent me the email.
I did.
What was
What'd
it?
It was interesting enough. It's
Yeah, it had two abdomens. It looked like, which
Yeah.
is really interesting. I've never seen.
Oh,
anything
it was like
that.
a Ben and Jerry kind of
yeah,
thing.
it's like
Kinda,
it's like
yeah.
the spider version of a two-headed snake, but not two heads, two abdomens, which was interesting. So,
That is cool.
Yeah.
I saw a bearded dragon with two torsos. So it had
Oh, yeah, I
one
saw that. I saw that.
bottom,
Yeah, I
like
saw
one set of bottom legs,
Yeah.
but two torsos.
I saw that too. Yeah, I've seen that.
I don't
There
know
was
if it made it. It was a baby.
I don't think it did. I think I remember hearing that animal didn't live. But there was. Laura, did you ever go to Arlington when that lady used to walk around with one on her shoulder that was a two-headed bearded dragon?
What?
Yeah,
That's
and it was an
awesome.
adult. It was a full-grown. Yeah, can you just see if there's a two-headed bearded dragon picture?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I've
and
seen
it
a
was a
lot, but I
full.
don't
It was a
know.
full-grown adult. It was just an old lady. Oh, there's the torso one, by the way. There's the
Yeah,
one
yeah,
that you're
that's the one I
about.
was
Yeah.
talking about.
But the two-headed, I don't know if the two-headed.
There's so many. Look
I think
at,
the one with the birthday hats down there, the one with the birthday hats, that might be it because they were really orange and it was an older lady that, I mean, I don't know how she acquired it, but they were her babies. I mean, she loved them, and she held them.
It's so crazy.
I know.
Every
right?
time I see this, it always just reminds me of American Horror Story,
Yeah.
the carnival season where she
yeah.
had 2 heads,
Yeah.
and like the whole thing. We won't get into
What's
it.
the girls' names
I was
that
gonna
live
say
in like Kansas?
we used to watch that show with the
Yeah.
conjoined twins.
Yeah, the
That's what it
twins,
reminds
yeah,
me
yeah.
of, and they were like
It was
full
like-
grown
were they
adults.
like
I don't know their
like-
names, but I know who
Yeah.
you're talking
Yeah, I think they
about.
were like Ashley and Ainsley
Yeah.
or something like that. Just
No,
can you just
Oh,
do conjoined
that was
twins?
somebody else
Um,
from our church.
TLC.
that were twins, but not conjoined.
yeah.
Yeah, there she is.
Oh,
There she
Abby
is.
and Brittany. Abby and Brittany. Yeah.
Why did we like? Why? I mean, not why did we like her? Why did we watch these? Why did we watch?
It was interesting.
It was a
yeah.
reality show.
It was crazy.
Yeah, I guess
like
you're right.
seriously, like the one wanted to play softball,
Yeah.
and so like the one played softball. It was
Right,
and
that's
I was
funny.
Like, and it's crazy because
It's
I think,
sad.
could you imagine
Do you know
being
that-
connected to your sister,
Hell no.
literally,
Yeah,
and
what's-
two
Hell
separate
no.
people? Because that was the thing; they wanted to do 2
I
separate
think
things.
I've heard
but you
something
share the
recently about
body.
them that
Yeah.
they're like dating the same dude.
Yeah, well, it was really. Well, what?
What else would you do?
I mean, how else would you,
Yeah,
right?
you would.
No, I feel like I remember the first one started dating and like was being all personal, and the other, you know, and I'm just
She
like,
was just
what?
wanting to-
Yes, exactly.
Well,
Like,
do you know that
trying to
there,
go the other way.
Imagine that. You're like, no.
Work.
You're just sharing a whole body, so I mean,
That would be horrible.
Do you know that there was the old Jay? Do you still have that Google pulled up with conjoined twins? There's like an older picture. Just kind of maybe take away. I don't even know how to do it, but anyways, there were the older ones
take
that back in
away.
the 1900s, and the one got married, and the other one was not married.
Yes, and that's whatever.
Yeah.
What was that show? Because it didn't
Yeah,
just have
that's
them;
right.
it had like
So
a
these
bunch
are some of the older
them.
ones here.
do you
Well, these are like
mean?
these are like I don't think those are
Yeah,
even
those
conjoined
aren't
twins.
real.
Those are
What do
aren't
you
real. These were
mean?
like two. They just had 2 heads.
Wait, can you please touch on that?
Yeah,
please.
literally,
Well,
the one got
you
married,
have-
but they talked about it like they were like, oh, we have to.
But they're
we have to-
together.
I know, but she was like, well, you know, they put a curtain up
They
at
put,
night.
they put the mask up,
No, they had
but
a
she
curtain up.
feels it, doesn't?
I don't know. This
well,
is
they're
what's
sharing
interesting
a body.
about.
They
Yeah.
have to, right?
Well, this is what's interesting about Abby. The interesting thing about Abby and Brittany is that each one of them controls an arm and a leg.
Oh yeah, because they're like
Interesting.
half.
Yeah, so
they're
they had to
split.
learn to walk and ride a
Yeah.
bike and do everything. Yeah.
That's crazy because
Yeah.
you can just be like,
Yeah.
Yeah, which actually is more fair.
yeah,
you know what I
it is
mean?
more fair. That does make me feel better because like you guys really have to work together. You can't be
Yeah.
fighting each other, else nobody's gonna get anything
Yeah.
done.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the 2-headed turtles we've had. Like, I feel like they were kind of like
Yeah,
that in the
yeah,
past
yeah,
too.
they would go in different
That's
directions. Yeah,
true.
and even Ben and Jerry, sometimes you'll see their heads
Yeah.
Yes.
split apart, where like Ben is trying to go one way. I mean, obviously Ben is the dominant, but Jerry sometimes gets the
Yeah.
better of the thing. So
Yeah, it's
yeah, it's interesting.
interesting.
Larry, Jessica, do you still do suspension? Favorite
I
band?
would. I don't. Man, favorite anything.
Yeah,
I'm
I
bad
always
at.
say that. I always
Yeah.
say the same thing. There's so many levels to favorites, right? You know what I mean?
Well,
So-
what kind of genre are we talking?
Man, I really don't listen to a lot of music anymore. I'm kind of because everything
Yeah.
I listened to when I was growing up, I'm kind of sick of.
Over it,
and
yeah.
Then, so I listen to mostly podcasts.
Yeah, that's true.
And by
And
the
you
way,
guys probably know that because you come
Right.
back there
Yeah,
and listen
yeah,
to
yeah,
podcasts all the time.
and by the way, Strudel says it definitely happened outside her door. I certainly did not want to say your grandma wasn't telling the truth. I mean, by no means was I insinuating that.
You were calling
I'm
his
just
grandma a
no,
liar.
no, I wasn't doing that at all. I'm sorry. I apologize, Strudel. I swear
I
to
don't
God.
think he was calling her a liar as much as it was just like we hear it so much.
Yeah.
It's just like
It
did
becomes,
it happen?
Yeah, like, did it really happen? But in this case, Strudel, I
Sure.
believe you, and I believe your grandmother. I'm sure she's a wonderful woman.
It's
and
just
we
a
can get
s-
her over her fear of snakes.
It's just
I
a
promise you.
strangely common story.
It is a strangely common story. But then again, maybe that many people do get bitten by
Right.
venomous snakes. I don't know.
I don't either.
Amanda, I used to be terrified of snakes. After binge watching everything BHB, I find myself really wanting an axanthic piebald. Oh, yeah, lightning pies are amazing.
Oh, can we
and,
talk
and what's
about
the name?
that?
She wants to name it.
oh, that's a good
Rorschach?
name. I like that.
What is what does that mean? Do you know?
You know the Rorschach test where it's like.
Oh, the Rorschach. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, gotcha. That's a great name actually for a pied.
So that's super chat is kind of cool because it is so crazy to me how many people comment on all our videos talking about how, oh, I was scared of snakes, and then I started watching your content, and now I want one.
Or didn't even like them, or
Well,
wasn't
that's
interested,
right.
about them, or,
got drawn into the vlog, and the next thing you know, they get an
And they don't even
appreciation.
see it through like physical touch or anything like that. It's all through the phone, which makes them want it, which is really interesting to me. It's just like, what, like.
Well, I guess it's no
it's
different.
cool.
Yeah, it is. It's very humbling, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's very cool. But it's the same thing, I guess, if you were into anything, right? You stumble, maybe you know how YouTube serves you up all kinds of stuff, you know. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden you stumble. I mean, I can't tell you how many
For
times
sure.
I'm like watching YouTube. Next thing I know, I'm watching a fucking video about someone cooking a baked potato in a dryer,
And then
I'm like,
We
wow,
know.
you
We
know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That did happen. You know, that does happen to me a lot. But like, it's just cool because it's like, well, for you, that's like your. Well,
that's my life
it's-
dream, yeah.
Right. It's a
Yeah,
goal.
it's my goal,
It's
yeah.
another dream of yours. For and me, like, I mean, it happens on my videos too, where people comment the same thing. They're watching both of ours and
Yeah.
stuff. And it's not. I don't necessarily think about that when I'm making the video.
No, yeah.
I'm more thinking like, well, recently I wanted to put a little bit of education in with the funny.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of tried to do with the 24-hour challenge.
Sure.
It's doing all right. The video's doing pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I think
But make people laugh, but also maybe have somebody learn just one thing, maybe two little things, and then they come out like, oh wow, that's interesting.
No, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. People don't want to be taught, but they want to learn, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
And but I think that's one of the weird things, right? I've always said that it's so bizarre how you can have so many people saying like, oh my God, I got into snakes, or I love snakes, or whatever because of you guys. And then you have the opposite side of people saying you're the worst thing that ever happened to this hobby. You know what I mean? You're just like, how do you have both of that dynamic? You know what I mean? Where the people in the industry think I'm the worst thing that could ever happen to the industry, but the people outside the industry come into the industry because of our efforts. You
I
know?
almost feel like it's like that with any industry, though.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
True, like
people kind of suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine this, right? So Chris Brown, he still releases music, right? And people look at his music and they're like, "Oh man, I love that music." They come in, but if you don't know anything about him, you might not know that he has a strong left hook.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Got that strong left hook. You might not want to be in a relationship.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe, but I mean, you might want to.
But maybe.
But maybe. That's what I'm saying.
he doesn't have a strong left hook.
No, I don't. Everyone knows that.
No, I'm just joking.
But no, thank you so much for your support on that. Amge Genie says, love you guys. Love Fook. Oh,
Fuck
Fook.
the haters.
Fook all the haters. Lori
Good
can we want sloths. Yes, I want sloths too.
You know what? Yeah, calm down on the sloth.
No, we want sloths too. We really do. Michael said, love the podcast and the channel. Keep up the good work. Just got a banana cinnamon from you guys. Oh, thank you so much.
Nice. Those were so pretty.
They're always
Those are
so
nice,
pretty. I mean, they really are. Again, the Reaper Wolf came back, said, also, I heard that those terrible people being mean to you, just know that I've been there. Know that you're one of the best people I've ever had and helped me years ago. Thank you, blah, blah, blah.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
And listen, I don't let that stuff get to me anymore, to be totally honest with you, because I really do think that it's a problem with people, not with me. You know, I mean, it's like anyone that knows me, I'm far from perfect. We're far from perfect. We all make
You
make
are,
mistakes.
but-
Yeah, me more than you, probably. Lori's probably more perfect than I am. But but there's no way that anyone that knows me could possibly think that like I abuse animals and that I hate animals and that I it just doesn't make any sense.
It's just a cool bandwagon to kind of jump.
And I think
on
the
or
other thing is,
something, like-
unfortunately, there's this social media side that if you put my name in a title, you're going to get more views. And so people know
That's a
that if
good
they
thing.
bash me, they can
Well,
get
That's a
more
good
views,
thing, though.
So
And
they
that's
use it for
exactly
social
it.
credit.
a good thing.
Unfortunately, it's kind of a thermometer of success.
Yeah,
Of
I guess
no
so.
matter what platform you're on, or what
100%.
you are,
Yeah.
animals, sports, whatever.
100%.
Once you reach a certain level, you're going to get haters
Although I will
people
say-
get seen for hating.
Because
on
hate's a
somebody.
good thing. That means you're doing it right because
Either
it's
they're
such
jealous
it is
or
such a
they're
good
just
thing.
yeah.
Although I will
It's such a
say,
good thing
I
to get
saw
hate.
a great meme the other day.
Let's hear it.
Yes.
It was remember with the black guys with the casket.
Yeah, the
That-
dead
that mean- yeah, the-
dancing
the
meme.
dead
yeah.
dancing meme. So it had me at Kevin McCurley with the white cobra.
Oh,
And as it struck at me, it had the dancing.
that's funny. That's funny.
It was a good one.
That's
I mean,
funny.
you know, and it wasn't a meme that was supposed to be fun for me. It was like a kind of
Right.
bash for me. But
Yeah.
I
But it
thought
was
I was like,
funny, though.
I was like, that was
No,
so
that's
great.
funny.
It was great. You
I
know?
Was
love-
that the one that you wanted to capture, but you couldn't figure it out or something? Or
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
not that one there. No, that was something different. But I think that you know,
It's a good
the most
thing.
of the time, I think most of the time when I see memes that are funny about me, just like, did I tell you about the I can't believe there's not butter one that someone did? So it was like, I can't believe it's not butter, but my face was on it and it said, I can't believe it's not mites.
Oh,
What?
And instead of butter, there were big
I
mites
love
on
that.
it. It was
That
great.
is so good, dude. Like that shit is hilarious. Are you kidding me? Like people are doing this. Like
Yeah, someone
that's-
spent a lot of time.
Well, that's what I
making
mean.
that
Like
meme.
that is so. I love that.
God.
That's
Yeah.
good shit. Keep it up, people.
And it's so, what's so funny is like, you know, again, it goes back to what I was saying about the fact that, like, when was the last person that got a snake with mites that we sent out? 5
Well,
years ago,
there's
6 years ago? I mean,
Since
it's been-
I've worked here,
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever happened.
No,
and I've
and-
worked
and-
here for
yeah.
almost 6 years.
And that's not to
so-
say that we haven't ever had mites. I mean, obviously we did, but it's been a long
when you're dealing
time.
with animals, you're bringing things from outside. You're going to reptile shows. Like it's
Well, I
going
think that's
to
what
happen.
I've said. Is like we kind of eradicated the mites at BHB when we stopped going to reptile shows.
Yes, 9 out of
Yeah.
10 times we would
Yeah.
come back from a show with them contracting from the show because that it.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is
Why I got this
that's the whole
mask.
thing. People
Yeah.
are
People
so
are dirty.
dumb.
Yeah.
Like wasn't that the saying for a long time before everything shit got crazy? Is if you haven't had mites, you haven't had reptiles long
Yeah,
enough.
long enough, yeah.
Because it just happens. If
They're
you're
like
going
fleas.
exactly.
Like if you have like cats or dogs,
Exactly.
you're gonna
But it's-
experience fleas.
But you regardless. I mean, you know, we haven't had them in a long time. By the way, poor Strudel here. I promise. I says sorry, I wasn't calling you a liar. Just wanted to clarify. Have you ever dealt with a black adder, the only venomous snake here in the UK? Number one, I'm sorry that you keep on having to super chat me. I apologize, dude. I swear to gosh, I love you, man. I love you for it. I have never seen European adders at all in the wild. In the wild, I've seen them in zoos, but I've never seen anything in the wild. I've actually, to be honest with you, I've never been herping in Europe at all.
I didn't
Never.
really know much about the snakes in Europe at all. So
There's not
that's
a
pretty
lot
cool,
because of the
yeah.
Pied Piper, right? I mean, he drove them all away.
No, wait, that was the rats. That was the rats. But the snakes
That was
probably
St.
followed the
Patrick.
rats.
So St. Patrick drove the snakes away. Whatever.
Like
Yeah, the Pied Piper was the rat.
Whatever.
I like cannot wait till all like travel restrictions are done just to like
Oh my
travel.
God,
Like
yeah.
I literally when you guys just said St. Patrick, it made me think of my Ireland trip.
Yeah.
Like I just need more of that stuff.
Yeah.
It
I know.
Well,
just
there's so
makes me
much,
feel
yeah.
so good.
Yeah,
I
there's so
know,
much,
I know. Speaking of trips, okay, I'm just going to throw it out there really quick. I'm super bummed because this weekend was supposed to be our annual wine trip.
Yeah, wine trip.
Up
yeah.
in Traverse,
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, and it literally gets me through the year. And literally, I canceled.
You guys do like
I-
a couple trips every year. and
Yeah,
it's
well,
like,
that's
yeah.
annual. It's every beginning of
Yeah,
May.
yeah.
And
It's always for
I
our
had to,
daughter's
I
birthday, yeah.
held on as long as I could, and I was like, oh, I got to cancel the thing. So obviously, that kills
Yeah.
me and hurts. But like you said,
You know what's good though?
what next
The
year
next
you
year
can come.
I'm gonna be in it.
Yeah,
Something.
By the way,
He
by the
wasn't
way,
excited. He's like, man, I can't come.
Yeah.
yeah. And by the way, that I'm always the driver, the designated
DD.
driver, the DD.
Yes,
And they call me Fernando. They don't call me
Fernando.
Brian. They call me
Bet you have
Fernando.
fun all day. with
I
them,
do have a
yeah.
great time, but my goal is to get to every
As-
single
as
winery.
many
so
as possible.
as
Yeah.
they're inside drinking wine, I am literally GPSing the next one. I'm getting ready. I've literally like the driver. I mean, you know, the only thing that I was bummed, I think that
So
they
you
were
have to come round you guys up.
Sometimes.
sometimes
yes.
like, let's go, guys. It's been 5 minutes. Let's go. And but I think that I was pretty bummed last year because I think that your brother Bob was supposed to buy me a hat, a chauffeur's hat, and didn't.
I was
Yeah.
just about to say we gotta get you like a suit, like so
Well,
you look like a
This is
driver,
the other
limo
thing I'm
driver.
going to throw out there. I'm really bummed too. So my brother Bob is obviously 3 years younger than me, which is not young, and he is graduating with his degree.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
In May.
Wow,
he's
I didn't even know
finishing.
that.
So Jade and I were going to surprise him. We got the little hat because he said he wasn't going to walk. So we had the graduation hat. We bought the tassel, and he was going to be wearing that all weekend during the wine thing.
Yeah, because these guys. Yeah,
happen.
because these guys, the girls always wear ridiculous hats.
Yep.
Like that's the thing. They do the crazy hats. By the way, Township said,
I didn't even know that.
Lots of love out of the Netherlands. The podcasts and vlogs really helped me. I'm in the hospital always. I'm so sorry. Makes me feel not so alone. Thank you all. Well, listen, we're here for you. We appreciate you, and we hope that you get through things as best as you can. Alexis says, I need to know if Noah actually licked the toad. I laughed so hard. Yeah, of course he did.
That was a rough time. That's all
He takes after his uncle is what it is.
What are you talking about?
The marine toad.
The 24-hour challenge video.
Yeah, the marine toad.
We licked that toad.
Speaking of road trips, though, I mean, because we were supposed to do this road trip this
licking
weekend,
the toad.
I wanted to talk about the fact that that's one of the things I miss. Jay, of course, I mean, me and you have been on a lot of road trips over the last 6 months. It's tough not being on the road, man. And I was thinking about this. I mean, Lori, in the last 10 years, this has to be the longest I've ever been home.
It really is. And it's hard for me, too.
Yeah, it's hard for you.
Because Lori likes her alone time, and that has not happened.
There's a lot less bed. There's a lot less bed because we've got 200-pound dogs in it.
Yes, because when you're gone, they take your side, and I get the whole other half.
I know.
Yeah, it's so much
but
better.
I miss so many things. I miss just seeing, like, I love driving. Like, I'm not a big fan of flying, but I mean, I do fly a lot, but not anymore. But I love the road. I love seeing just everything. Every state is so different, whether in the mountains or in the pastures or whatever you're at. And I miss that. But it kind of brought me back to a couple things about road trips, like, and maybe we can talk about what our favorite road trips have been. I remember a couple things that I always thought was funny. Jessica, you may not know this. Lori doesn't believe GPS works. So Lori's an anti-GPS.
I'm kind of with her.
Oh, jeez.
I've had some bad times with GPS.
So Lori,
I do not like to blindly follow that shit because
I've gotten lost with it. It's taken me way out of the way.
You have arrived. Where the fuck am I? Because I'm not where I'm supposed to be.
That is true.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
There's a lot of things like, and she always will be like, "Where is she taking us?" Like it's some woman, like like giving us bad directions.
Well, you always get the bitch woman voice.
But so
I will say it's better than like MapQuest though. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I was bringing up.
That's what she loves.
Up until just a couple years ago, Lori would bring a physical map and MapQuest.
An atlas and the MapQuest.
Oh yeah,
and
every road trip.
Every road trip.
I remember like she would hand me it sometimes, and I would be like, "Yep, right here." I'm just like, approximately 20 miles. You're taking a left.
If you have an atlas, you are never lost.
That is so true. That is true.
My dad says the same thing. So
Yeah, and they have the little.
It's a nice one. It's on a spiral bound.
Yeah, and it's like you said, Noah. Like they had the little scale, like 20 miles. So like 2 fingers was 20 miles.
Right? Yeah,
so you
exactly.
could do like two. Yeah, there's about 60 miles on the turn.
You missed your
Right.
exit. Okay, you know what? Yep, the next one, go up this far, turn around, we'll backtrack here. Like
Right.
you could always do it.
You're right.
That GPS shit, no.
I remember there was 2 things, and Jay was involved in one of them. Jay, but I'm going to bring up Forrest first before I bring up Jay. I was on a trip back from Texas. Weirdly enough, both trips were back from Texas. One was with Jay, and one was with Forrest. Different trips, but we were driving through the night, and Jay's wasn't as bad, by the way. I don't.
It was Georgia.
And it was it was Georgia.
Ivy.
Yeah, we were getting Ivy. We went to Georgia. Yeah, down to Atlanta, not to Texas. And so with Forrest, we were driving back from Texas, and we're driving through the night. So we're going to try to get home all night. It was like, I knew I wasn't going to get back to Forrest's place till about 2:30 in the morning, and then it was 5 hours more drive home. And so Forrest is driving. I'm editing the vlog. This was before Jay was with us, so I'm editing the vlog, and I've got my headphones on, stuff like that. I finally take my headphones off, and literally I hear rerouting, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, and so I look at Forrest's phone, who's driving, and we're 45 miles past the exit, and there's no roads back. You have to turn 45 miles the opposite direction to go back to where we're coming.
I remember you telling
I
me
was
you
so-
were so mad.
Yeah, it was 90 minutes out of our way. When we were going to get in at 2:30, we didn't get in until 4 in the morning, and then I had to drive another 5 hours on my own by myself.
Why didn't
and I'm
you just stop and just sleep at that point?
well, because I was going to.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just make it to St. Louis.
Yeah.
And then we'll just, and Forrest's like, no, I want to get home. And at that point, I'm like, well, if I'm going to
Once
do
he
that.
got
I'm-
there, yeah, because I even said, just stay there. No, I'm just coming home.
Yeah, I was so pissed,
He was
man.
so mad.
I was so pissed.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God. Bruce actually did that to me when we
Oh,
first
no.
started dating. I was bringing him up from Alabama up to Michigan to meet my parents, and it wasn't as bad as that. It wasn't 45 miles. It was only like 20 miles. So
But
not
still,
as
yeah,
bad.
still,
but
yeah.
it's just like, why didn't you just go the way I told you?
Well, again, I remember like, remember this when we went to, we were going to Daytona, and this was before really GPSs. This was MapQuest and stuff like that.
was Atlas days.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And remember, I did not turn on I-26, and I kept going on I-95 for about 30 miles before we realized that I missed the turn. But that was different because when you have something saying, rerouting.
That is-
you would think that maybe you'd pay attention.
Right.
Like, how do you just not look at your phone for 45 miles? Now, again, Jay did this to me too.
did that too.
But it wasn't as bad.
He didn't have GPS on.
Yeah, he didn't have his GPS on, number one. And number two, it was only like 20 miles or something like that. But and it wasn't quite as bad. But we got what happened? We were on I-75 heading back,
Yeah.
and I was like maybe answering comments or doing something. I can't remember.
Yeah, you were just like on your phone chilling.
Yeah, I was just whatever. And all of a sudden I look up and I'm like, why are we on I-65? Because it's like literally from Atlanta to Detroit.
It's
75.
75 the
There's
whole
no,
way,
there's
yeah,
no,
yeah.
and all of a sudden I'm like,
Basically, yeah, that was
All you
where
gotta do
on
is
the stretch we were on. So
Yeah.
I was like, why are we
Stay
not
at
on 75?
yeah, why are you not on 75? And I looked, and sure enough, I punch up my GPS, and we're like, 18
I almost
miles.
guarantee you it was at the same point that Bruce did it. Because,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's probably some weird.
All you gotta
tra-
do is
yeah.
stay on 75.
I thought I was on 75.
Yeah. Jay thought he was on 75, but he
Again,
wasn't. Yeah.
those glasses, man, you got to keep them clean.
No, but you do have a point though. Like I do love driving and like through different states and stuff. It is awesome. My favorite road trips are going from Michigan, where we are, to the East Coast, like New York or DC
Yeah,
or
through
something.
Pennsylvania.
Just because, you get to see so much different terrain. You have a point where you're driving through mountains,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's always
through
neat.
a bunch of forests, and then you come into these big cities, like these gigantic cities like New York, and you're driving in it, and you're just submerged by all these skyscrapers, literally, and you're just like, holy shit, like,
Yeah.
this is real life. This is awesome. Like, we
Yeah.
did this, like,
Yeah.
even though we
Well,
didn't.
just think
but-
about how different that
cool.
was back in the pioneer times when it would be
I
like.
do think of that because I don't know
Yeah.
about anybody else, but I read all the Little House on the Prairie books and
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
so I do think that. Could you imagine traveling through nothing in just
Horse
like
and
a horse
carriage.
and a carriage, like
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
like that
How-
was some boring
You
ass
get to the-
shit.
And it would take months to get in.
Yeah, you could get to the Mississippi and be like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
What
You're
do we do now?
screwed.
Let's
You gotta
just
wait
go
for
around
it
this
to go
one.
low so you could go through. I'm like,
Well, I'm
yeah,
sure
no.
they literally like, oh, there we just go around it, you know. But let's see, we got Soulless Honky. You always awesome.
Oh, he gave it
667. What? What the heck happened here, Soulless? Hey, from Portland, great seeing other crews on. Never been scared of snakes. Just more snakes. That's awesome. Thanks, brother.
I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, I remember hearing in a book that I read. Well, maybe I don't really do much
A book
reading,
that you read?
but maybe it's in school or something. Talking about horse in a carriage, though. Talking about traveling cross country.
Yeah.
I feel like this was like history class or something. And I remember it took like a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah.
How long did it take, Jay? Can you look
Well, you
that
figure
shit up?
they could probably only get
Horse
10,
and
12
carriage.
miles a day.
No,
right?
You could get longer than that.
You can get a lot
on
longer than
horse.
that.
It depends
Really?
on like your group.
Well, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
if
saying.
you've
I'm
got,
saying
like,
if you're
a
going
big
like
group, yeah.
going like super slow,
Yeah.
they're probably going 5 miles an hour.
You
I
think?
think like
Yeah.
Donner Party and stuff, they were projecting like 4 or 5 months to
Yeah,
go through
4 or
the
5.
mountains.
4 or 5 months to get through the mountains.
8 to 12 hours for 50 miles.
Okay, so they go 50 miles.
But you're right through mountains and stuff. It's probably a
But is
lot
that-
less.
Yeah.
You know?
what I mean? But so you figure 50 miles a day, you're still looking at 3,000 miles from from New York to L.A.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Those
so
pioneer
that's,
days were no
yeah,
joke.
That's still, if you're going 50 miles a day, that takes you
I'm not
600,
mad.
600
I'm not
days.
mad that I didn't live during
That
that.
2
It'd
years
take you 2 years.
Me neither.
around.
Well, and that's
I like my
that's if
car.
you're going
Yeah.
50 miles, you know. So okay, the Reaper Wolf says again, I think you could really do some cool herping in Europe. I agree with you. That'd be super amazing. Heard tons of your stories about going places with animals. I would love to do more stuff in Europe, to be honest with you. Dash from New York said, "Hey, it's me, Brian. Angel. It's Angel. Had a
Virtual
blast
tour.
yesterday. Had the virtual tour with you yesterday with Noah. And Dad likes Jordans. Yeah. So this was. I'm sorry. I'm all
Why
over the
won't you
place.
let Dad wear Jordan 4s?
So I told him the story. I told him the story about the fact that
'Cause
I
you're
bought
too damn
some
old.
fours. By the way, this is
No.
a super cool dude. He's going to come visit us.
This is why.
Super cool dude.
This is why.
Why?
I'm just gonna explain it. right
Okay,
off
go
the
ahead.
bat.
Go ahead.
You don't care about any of the backstory. Like you're not a basketball fan. You know what I mean?
You told me
did-
I didn't have the right body type, is what you said.
Well, that too. That too.
And I don't know what that means because
I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It's just like you can't. You like stick to the Adidas.
yeah, I'm sticking to the Diaz.
I don't know.
Angel, when you come here, brother, you got to talk to Noah. Talk some sense into this fool.
No. No.
So he had some dope fours on yesterday. I told him that fours are my favorite, and he said he had some
I do
fours
too.
on.
Mine are
Nice, you got
dirty
some
as
fours.
hell.
Oh, look, you got the gray
These
ones.
are
Nice.
dirty.
Yeah, those are dirty. Get those things right.
But it's raining out here.
Yes.
It is. Christian said, whenever I see one of your vlogs on Facebook, I comment that people should watch it on YouTube. I hate that those videos are taken away from your views. Much love every day.
Those are our
it doesn't really matter that much if people are watching. I mean, certainly we get a higher CPM or cost, we get higher dollar amount on YouTube than we do Facebook, but we do monetize Facebook. So I'm happy for Facebook people as much as I'm happy for YouTube people. And I think it's a different medium.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of people that are like Facebook people that would rather watch on YouTube or I think that most of the people that watch on Facebook would not watch me on YouTube.
I agree.
It's just out of
You know.
convenience, right? So
Yeah,
like,
it's
if
a very
you're
convenient thing,
on
and it's-
that platform more.
Exactly.
And
It's
if you
different.
think about it, we used to get about 100,000 views, and we still do get about 100,000 views on YouTube. Between 80,000 on the low end to 150 on the high end. Now we get about 100,000 views a day on Facebook too. So it hasn't really taken away from our YouTube.
No.
It just added. But I do appreciate your concern because I do get a higher amount on YouTube.
It's
There's no doubt
also
about it. But I just appreciate everybody.
different demographic.
Yeah.
I guarantee that there's a lot of, like you said, different fans on Facebook compared to YouTube.
Yeah, there's probably some crossover, but I mean, listen, if you were going to watch it on Facebook or YouTube, I would prefer you to watch it on YouTube. But if you're going to just watch it on either one, I'm happy with. Let's see, Ariel said, I hate when using GPS on big cities and realize that I'm supposed to turn. Big cities are
I
a
agree.
problem, like New York and even in Detroit sometimes. It's not
Oh,
right.
it's not
It
good.
can get messed up. You know?
Super bad.
Tanja again said, I really wish I could go to the zoo, meet you all maybe next year. Need to get a yes to go with my meds and my mom tube feeding, stuff like that on a plane. I really hope you can come. That would be amazing. And we can just set something up private, if you come and stuff like that. That way you don't have to worry about all the hustle and bustle. And I can't wait, hopefully pretty soon. Lori and I were talking about it. I really hope that by the end of May, we can not necessarily be open because I don't know that that's going to happen, but maybe we can start doing in-person tours again.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be
because
like,
I had
a
to
thing,
obviously
yeah.
call because Michigan's closed at least through May 15th.
15th,
So I had to call
Yeah.
the people who had stuff booked in May.
Yep.
And that's what I was saying too, is our hopes is that we'll be able to at least do the personal stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what? We got to wait and see what the governor
Yeah, I think if we
says.
have,
so-
exactly. It's up to the governor. But if we have groups of under 5, and I've already started to think about the protocol of, let's say realistically, when we open up, and whenever that is, if that's the end of May, June, whenever it is, July, whenever that happens to be, I think there's going to probably be some restrictions. I don't think that there's going to be let's open up, to anybody and just let's go back to normal.
I agree. I think you would be silly to think otherwise.
Right. So my point is that I've already been kind of thinking about how we can open up. Let's say there's 50 people. So we've talked about maybe selling hour slots, like 4 to 5, you get a red wristband. 5 to 6 is a green wristband, 6 to 7 is a yellow green, And if you want to buy, maybe it's cheaper to get in 4 to 5 than, because we charge $10 admission. So maybe we charge $5 for an hour, but if you want 2 hours, you can buy both hours or something like that. I think the other thing is that for the short term, probably people are going to have to wear masks. I think, to come in. And then we will have a temperature check. So everyone has to get their temperature checked to come in. And listen, this may be extreme measures, but I think not only is it I think more than anything, it's going to make other people feel safe. Like, oh, we can go to the Reptarian because they're making all the precautions. So if 90% of people feel like it doesn't matter, I'd go in there without a mask, the 10% of the people we have to make feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think that, as silly as like it may seem, temperature check, I think that's like a smart thing,
Yeah.
Oh, this person got a fever, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, including us.
Smart thing to do, yeah.
Yeah, including us. I mean, as workers, we're going to have our temperature check. We're going to have a
We
mask
don't feel
on
like
all the
working.
time.
Oh, I'm feeling a little hot.
Oh yeah, go to the bathroom, splash water. I don't know, Brian.
Go home.
I don't know, Brian. I'm pumping out a 101 here.
Yeah. It's possible. Jessica needs to come around more often. She does work hard. Jessica's obviously a huge part of everything we do. BHB, the Reptarium, everything else. So it's always great. And like you said, she's been around for a minute.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
been
Had
around
fun
for-
tonight, though.
Yeah. So it's always good to have people. So if anyone has any questions for her, let us know. Tanja's at it, man.
I
Holy
know.
cow, man. Let's chat more. Need to get to sleep. Hey, get to sleep. Have a great night. Thank you so much for all your support and everything. Be well and definitely let's get you over here and have a good time sometime. So that'd be really cool.
She said it's Tanya
Oh, Tanya, not
with
Tanja.
a Y,
Oh,
not
Tanya.
a J. Even though it's with a
Oh,
J.
because it's a European.
Tanya.
Yeah, Tanya. Yeah, gotcha.
Tanya.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tanya. I'm
Good job,
sorry.
Brian. Good job.
Who's this? Lisa Teamski. Lisa Teamski.
That's my mommy.
Teamski?
Teamski. Hey, Lisa, what's going on? Of course, Jay's mama.
Mamacita.
Stacy Lee says, great to see
Mamacita.
Jessica on the podcast. Like always,
Hey,
just showing
Stacy.
some love. What's going on? Yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. But
So how was that wine? Did it turn out being all right?
yeah, was it all right?
Good.
Voga Italia.
It's pretty
Right
sweet.
there.
A Moscato.
Moscato.
It's a Moscato.
Speaking of Italiana, I really
Italiano.
hope that we can get to Italy by the end of the year. I mean, I really hope.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
gonna
for
happen.
sure.
Yeah, that was the other trip that we had planned with my brother and sister.
It still might happen. It's October.
It's October.
October.
So
Yeah.
Hopefully by then you
I
guys
can hope.
should be good.
I hope so.
Hopefully.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's-
it'll.
I know. I know.
I don't know.
exactly. It's like, oh.
Yeah,
You know.
just
You don't
hope.
wanna get- you don't want to get
That's
excited
all I
about
can
it.
do.
But,
No,
but I was,
exactly.
I just yesterday, I was walking and I was thinking about Rome. I was thinking about, remember when we went to Rome and we literally we must have walked 10 miles that day.
At least.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
10 miles. We walked to the Colosseum twice.
Mm-hmm.
Twice. And Rome itself, with the old Rome is not like huge. I mean, it's you can walk it. And we just got this little tourist map and we literally just like went to every little tourist thing we could go to and we just walked to everything. And we did it all in a day, and I just remember that day being so. And yesterday was like a similar. It was like kind of warm, like the same temperature. The
Yeah,
sun
we got
was out.
really lucky. The weather was really nice.
Oh my God.
And-
Yeah, 'cause it
we
was
had went
February.
in
Or was it
January.
January? Oh, yeah,
it
it
was
was January, yeah.
Yeah, and it was very mild, and
Yeah.
and we got really lucky. And
I've
no,
never
it was
been.
it was
I
awesome.
can't
No,
wait
I
to go
remember
one
when
day.
you guys came back and you were all into the Italy stuff.
Yeah, Lori was
know.
trying to learn. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah, I
She
still
still
love a
does
good
it. She's-
charcuterie.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know. She
Meats
was.
and cheeses. Let's do that for dinner
And
tonight.
wine.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Meat, cheese, and wine. Yes, lots of meat, cheese, and wine. But yeah, it was, and that was funny because literally, like the hotel in Florence, that's what Lori did. We went to a grocery store, and literally she just bought meat and cheese. And then when we were in Rome, we were doing that almost every night
Yeah.
too, is meat and cheese, and it was just great.
It's awesome.
But I
What
just-
more
I
do you need, right?
exactly. No.
Yeah.
but I do miss Italy a lot, and I hope we can get back there, whether it's in October or at the end of the year, whenever it happens to be. I think it would be amazing.
I love
'cause-
all that stuff. And there's like, as funny as it is, like I know personally myself, I hold places like Rome at a higher like standard in my brain, right? It's
Yeah.
just like I think, oh, Rome or Italy, like wow, this is really special.
Well, they basically owned Europe, back in the day. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's
Right.
been around for
the
so
Romans,
long.
the
But
Romans
that's the
were.
cool
but
part.
what
There's
I
so
was-
much history
But
there.
what I was trying to see is like, yeah, hold that thought there. But at the same time, you can get that anywhere,
Sure.
right? You can go to DC and you can take in all these amazing buildings. Yes, it's a lot newer.
Yeah.
It's a lot newer than Rome
Yeah,
is.
just
I've
the
never
history.
been. I don't know, but I think of that and it's just like, well, we still got cool stuff here too.
Oh, there's so much cool stuff, but
do.
we've
don't
been
know.
to DC together, and we've seen the
Yeah.
White House and all that other stuff. And,
You know what? Something I always will remember.
what's that?
Going to DC, we went inside the Space Museum.
Yeah.
Every time I go to DC, I have to go there because
I
it's
love
just
it,
so
yeah.
cool. Like I see
Yeah.
the same ships every time, but it's just like, damn, that's cool. You
Yeah.
come out and then there's these Euro
Yeah,
carts.
the carts. Yeah,
These, like,
the food
food
carts.
carts, and then we got the best Euro I've ever
It
had,
was good, man.
and we're sitting on a park, like a workout park bench.
Yeah.
Like they had this like park bench
Oh, yeah, it
where
was
you
good.
like
Yeah,
work
yeah,
out
yeah, it was
on,
like-
Okay.
and that was the only spot to sit, and we were just chilling eating
I remember
Euros.
that. That was a good Euro.
It
and
was
then,
so good.
Yeah, and then we drove 8.5 hours home right after
Yeah,
that, like
we
straight
did.
home. Yep, I remember it. It was good. But I think that when
Sounds
you
like
go
a
to
Brian trip.
Yep.
yeah, when you go to Europe, it's very similar to all the things you see, like, oh my God, the White House, or,
wow.
or the Treasury, or Lincoln Memorial. But the only thing is then you start thinking like, wow, this was
It's so
thousands
much
of years
older.
ago.
It's like
Right.
literally your history class. Like you
Right.
studied
Yeah.
about the Colosseum, and you
Yeah.
study, and that's what's
That is
just
true.
crazy.
When I was
is
talking
when you're
about
there
it-
in life, like
Right.
What all did you guys go check out in Rome?
We saw everything.
Everything?
I mean,
Yeah.
and what they say about Rome too is that it's a living archaeological site.
Yeah.
Because what's interesting is you'll literally be walking down the street, and there's literally. So what happens is there's like cities were built on top of cities, so they're still finding cities buried in the city of
and
Rome.
everything is still like cobblestone and stuff. So like these are the
Right.
same things that they'll get cars and stuff through it, but these were made to be walking paths because
Right,
cars
they're
didn't
not-
exist. So
Yeah.
and then they're super small. Like so everything you
Yeah.
pretty much see, they didn't like wipe it out and build new cities. It's
Yeah.
all old. You
Yeah,
know,
we were
and it
right
makes
next
it
to the
very cool.
Pantheon, which is amazing, and
Yeah.
that's where we stayed. We stayed in a hotel called the Senators Hotel, and we stayed in the penthouse. And oh my gosh, we were balling, man. This was a hotels.com thing, and I think I paid $250 a night, which is a lot for a hotel room. But this is literally like, I mean, it should have been a $2,000 a night room. To
Yeah,
be
our
totally
friend
honest.
from Italy said that.
Yeah.
He was like, "Dude, what is that?" Because that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, we had our own balcony, like
Yeah.
I mean, entire balcony.
I sat every morning. I'd sit on the balcony, literally with the
Yeah, the
dome
Pantheon,
of the
yeah.
Pantheon
Yeah,
was
that's
right
so
there.
insane.
Yeah.
And
That's
the little plaza with the fountain
You-
was right there.
You're right. When I was talking about DC and stuff, you're right. It is. I was thinking, and I was like, yeah, you're right. It's like thousands of years
Yeah,
different.
and that's the difference. And
But
that's
it's
the
still the
first time
same type
I've
of thing, though.
experienced is having that, and that
Yeah.
is. But you kind of got that with like your castles and stuff.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
that was
you
really
know.
cool. There was like I think I may have talked about this before. I don't know. Maybe you never heard of it. There's like a castle that we went to in Ireland where you had to go upside down and kiss the stone, and then you have like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
7 or 8 years of good luck.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
remember your pictures.
Yeah, and I did it, and it was funny. Like they have like this squirt bottle that they're like you kiss it and they go and then they wipe it
Oh
off.
yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
no corona.
So no
there.
corona,
No
right? It's-
corona.
Yeah, here we go.
There it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, there it is. And yeah, it was just really cool to climb up to the. It's literally at the top, and that's how they do it. They hold you like that, and you're dangling from your life, and then you kiss it, and it's very scary. I'm not gonna lie, it's scary. You're like, I'm upside down. If this guy drops me, whatever.
Well,
Oh,
just
that's
think
funny.
about
But
how
I did it. It was really
yeah,
cool.
Just think. I mean, that is so unsanitary. You know what I
Well,
mean?
they squirted it.
But they did. No, they squirted it. I'm chilling. But I'm not
Every
joking.
time.
This is the cause of
If I don't go back, I'm gonna go back again.
Yeah, you got to.
Not even just for like luck.
Yeah.
Just because it's just like that was such a cool experience.
Yeah.
Like when my time's up, I'm
I
gonna
was
get
gonna
that
say,
good luck
what
again.
was that? How, 7 years? Is that
It was
what
like 8 years.
8
I don't know.
years?
What did that say, Jay?
Yeah, it was like the Trevi Tower in Rome, right? It's like if you throw a coin in, you'll
How many
definitely
years of good
come
luck?
back. Yeah, who knows on that one?
The Trevi Fountain, not tower.
Trevi Tower, yeah, fountain. I
Fountain.
meant, yeah, fountain, not tower. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. But yeah, I think that
Yeah.
there's
The Blarney
Blarney
Stone.
Oh yeah, the Blarney Stone. Yeah, I've heard of
Blarney,
this.
good luck.
How many days is this? Who knows? It doesn't say.
For
Who
7
knows?
days.
7 days. Yeah, you're pretty much
That's not
screwed.
Your luck ran out a while ago.
It ain't fucking 7 days. Stop lying to the people. It's years.
Well, listen.
Whatever. I'm gonna just Google on my phone because Jay doesn't know what the hell.
Well,
he's doing.
I'll look forward to getting back to traveling. Obviously.
6
Listen,
minutes.
one of the things I wanted to chat with you guys about a little bit is it kind of goes back to the Tiger King a little bit, but I'm calling it the Python King, right? Because I'm wondering, the animal world is so bizarre, right? And there's so many weird people that, first off, I wonder if the Tiger King started at Tom Crutchfield's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. When it opened, I was like, what the hell is Tom doing?
Right. And I heard that Tom had told me that they were doing a Netflix show about him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, is there a chance that there's been this ongoing series about reptile people that have maybe been being filmed? The Tiger King took 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So is there something being made? And they started to make me think about how many crazy stories we've heard about reptile people over the years. You know what I mean? Like reptile people are as crazy as anybody. You know what I mean?
I think all animal
Definitely.
people
I
are
mean, maybe-
pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about a couple of things like, remember when, what the heck, his name was Mark Haas. Do you remember Mark Haas?
Yes, I do.
And Mark, it's so messed up, man. Freaking Mark posted like all these snakes online, like we all do, and someone contacted him. And what's the deal with almost 90% of reptile deals happen in like a Walmart parking lot?
Oh, all of them.
Well,
Like, why is that?
Because
That's just
they're
how deals
all
go.
around, and they're big lots, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so common for people to be like, yeah, I could sell you the snake, but you got to meet me at Walmart.
well, this is why.
like,
A
I mean, it's a public place and they're all over the place.
Yeah, I
public
guess,
place, all over the place, cars everywhere,
Mhm.
right? It's not discreet, right? If somebody
Right.
wants to pull a quick one on you, you're in public, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it was funny, but it's not even a quick one. Like, we got Al Pacino in a parking lot,
Right.
in Lansing.
It's not a
Yeah.
bad thing, though.
But it's just weird, you know what I mean?
Because-
It's just weird that,
Is it-
everything's...
Would
like
you
where
rather-
you do drug deals, right? So it's
Yeah, it kind of feels like a drug deal. Like, it feels like a drug deal. to me,
Right.
But,
But it's like the same premise of a drug deal. It's like you're trusting this person to give you the product, and then you give money.
yeah,
It's like the same thing.
yeah.
You pull up, you're like, all right, hopefully this guy doesn't shoot me and take my money.
Listen, we had the same thing with some Beanie Baby deals.
Yeah, we did have some Beanie Baby deals in the parking lot, yeah.
That's what I mean.
I have
It's just
some Beanie Babies if you guys want to make some more deals with
No, I don't think
There
there's
you
any
go.
deal. I don't know if there's any. I asked the last podcast for some Beanie Baby expert to reach out to me because I got some dope Beanie Babies. And
I
no
do.
one
I've
reached
got
out.
some of like the first edition, like Diana or Princess Diana.
yeah,
ones.
yeah, okay.
Anyone wants them? Let me know.
Yeah. It's all about whether they're PVC pellets or.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's,
I've got
it's like
some of the ones that are desirable.
Yeah,
if
there you
anyone
go.
wants them.
There you go. There you go. Reach out to us, Beanie Baby people. But let me get these super chats, and then I want to get going real quick. Murphy Pink says Noah handcuffed to Lori for 24 hours. I've talked about doing this.
yeah. Shut up.
I really think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. I really do. I think it'll be
I'm not on for that.
Yeah. Draco
No way.
says, hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much, Draco. Stacy Lee says another 10 for both Jessica and Lori for wine.
Nice.
That's awesome.
you.
You guys, and you can buy some more of the Voss wine. Rhonda, our girl Rhonda, what's going on, girl? Big hugs to all of you guys. Thanks for all your efforts and keeping us entertained, staying positive. We appreciate you. Of course, she's the one that donated Snaz to us and also has been a great friend to us for all kinds of stuff. Sarah, thanks for everyone. First time catching it live. The best way to decompress after a long day of work. Thank
Sammy.
you so much.
Sammy, not
Sammy?
Sari.
I'm sorry.
Sarah.
I literally looked at 2 R's instead of an M. So I'm
Sarah.
sorry.
That's
not
Sari.
Yeah, sorry,
Sammy.
sorry, Sammy. I love you. Let's see, Cat.
Katie M.
Caddy.
Yeah,
Katie.
Caddy.
I know. I'm
Listen
gonna.
here,
I'm gonna
Caddy
kill this.
M.
And she actually got 2 really quick.
Hello,
It says,
fam.
"Hello, fam," and then the next one says, "Hey, B, did you sign my poster?" I did.
Did you sign
Yes,
it? It's
I
been on
did.
there for days.
No, I signed. No. Wait a second. I signed the first day,
Yeah,
and then
yes, it's
and
been
I
sitting
signed
there
the
for
first
days.
The reason it was sitting there for days is because there was 2 posters. One that I signed immediately, and then the other one everyone was supposed to sign. Which, by the way, did you know? Was you
Yeah, I
signed
did sign it.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
So it wasn't me. I signed it right off
Okay.
the way. So, anyways, back to
Thanks, Caddy.
Thank you so much, Cat.
Oh, another one.
Oh yeah, Jessica, how'd you meet Brian? I don't even remember that.
Well, my friend worked here.
Yep,
Anthony.
exactly.
Oh, Anthony.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
We
Yeah.
had another
Oh.
position, and he
Yep.
said, "Yep, I have a friend," and she came in and interviewed, and there
Interesting.
you
Been
go.
around
And her
ever
friend,
since.
yeah, been around ever since. We can't get rid of her.
I mean, I can go right now.
No. Please,
that's
no.
not what we want.
The ongoing joke was always that the day that Jessica leaves, we'll just give it up. You know? That's what we've been saying that for years. You know, Jessica, she's not allowed to leave. It's like she's got a probation officer that has to stick here. You gotta go. Did you go to BHB today? What were we talking about? I wanted to finish my story when we're
Oh shit,
before
we
the
were talking
Super
about
Chat.
a lot of stuff. We were talking about
Tiger King.
Rome,
Tiger King, Python
Python
King.
King.
So, anyways, Mark Haas gets this deal with this guy who wants $20,000 worth of his snakes, and he's going to meet him in a parking lot.
Good.
Dude rolls up, shoots him in the freaking heart.
That's literally what.
Shoots him in the heart.
Wow.
Steals his snakes. Thankfully, Mark, it missed his heart.
Did he go
and-
alone?
And he went alone.
Of course, you go alone.
I would not
Man.
go anywhere alone with 20 grand worth.
I need
of
to do a
snakes on
reptile
me.
true
No.
crime podcast.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. This is a true crime.
Number
It's-
one, I'm sorry, Mark, but you're a fucking idiot. Number two,
Damn.
No, I don't think. See, I don't agree with that.
I do.
Because I think I've done that deal before.
Yeah,
I think
well,
I've
then you're an
anyone to buy-
idiot
I think
because
I've-
for 20,
yeah.
you like no.
I think
'cause
I've
that's the
taken
kind
20
of
grand
shit.
from people in a parking lot before.
Listen, the reason why it is kind of stupid is
Yeah.
because, as just proven through that story, people kill for that kind of
Exactly.
money.
Yeah.
20 grand, even though
know,
it doesn't feel like a lot
see-
of money for necessarily maybe you, that is more money than some people could ever dream of having.
Always be
I get-
prepared.
So they'll kill for it because
I
they can't
get-
imagine
I
having
think-
that much.
I understand that, but I think in a snake
Crazy.
deal, it doesn't make sense. And of course, the guy went away for attempted murder. Now he missed his heart, collapsed his lungs, was in the hospital for like a month. For getting shot, but he did live.
Did he
Thankfully,
get his snakes back?
he did get his snakes back, and this is what I'm
That's
saying. This is
crazy.
why I'm saying it's a silly deal. Is because like I'll go back to another story that happened to us. We were at the White Plains Reptile Show. I think you were with me. You may not have been with me. And I had a pinstripe piebald ball python stole.
Okay.
$10,000. We had the only pin pieds in the world
Yeah.
at the time. Why would you steal that? Because you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
Right.
can't then say,
sell
oh,
it.
easy to
Right,
track
exactly.
yeah. So what ended up happening was in this particular deal, it was an interesting deal.
Took it to a pet store, right?
No. This guy actually put it up for sale.
Oh.
And so a friend of mine contacted me, and what happened was we did a little sting. We
Yep.
did an O.J. Simpson on
I
him.
remember this.
And what happened was a friend of mine was a friend of mine had a friend that was a Pennsylvania state trooper. So my friend said, I will buy that from you. I'll meet you at the Hamburg, Pennsylvania show. And when he showed up with the animal, his friend that was a state trooper was standing there and said, you can either turn over the animal or we're going to arrest you. And because I said, I won't press charges
Oh, okay.
if I can get my snake back. And so the guy turned it over. So in this case with Mark Haas, the guy, of course, had all these animals that were worth 20 grand.
Yeah.
And as soon as he started posting them for sale, the police arrested him. You know, so not a very smart guy. You know what I mean? You're not
Most-
stealing
most
20 grand worth
thieves
of
aren't.
money. You're stealing 20 grand's worth of animals that are very unique. Now, if you were buying 20 grand worth of
Yeah.
albino ball pythons, you're probably okay because there's plenty of albino ball pythons. But
Right.
when you start buying these really unique,
Yeah.
one-of-a-kind
One-of-a-kind,
animals,
yeah.
it's hard, you know?
That is silly. I mean, not to like plug Miguel, but he even got people stealing ball pythons
Yeah.
on camera
Yeah.
in one of his vlogs.
Yeah, I remember that.
He
I
was just
remember.
filming a reptile show, and
Really?
in the
Holy
corner,
crap.
in the background,
Yep.
he's like, "Look at this cool snake. There's people stealing snakes." And like, it was a big video for him at the time. I don't know what it
Yeah,
has
yeah.
now, but I remember it was just
That's
like, I caught
crazy.
these people. Like,
Yeah.
but I just remember it being a common thing. I remember it happening at
Oh,
White
it happened to us
at
all the time.
White Plains
Well,
a lot.
and that
I
was
remember
the thing
being there.
and that's why showcases evolved and locks
Yeah.
got certain ways because exactly if
It,
you know,
it just was.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid just spectating things. I remember what would happen from my perspective would be, it felt sometimes like maybe there was teams because
There were teams.
Yeah.
it was
There
like
were teams.
they would
especially in White Plains.
it
White
would
Plains, yeah.
yes they would distract you.
Yep.
They would distract you. They would distract Chewy or whoever was there, and then
Yep.
Somebody would be like, "Hey, Chewy, come over here. Can I see the snake?" And then he would go back and then dip.
Yeah, well, what ended up happening was
Just
there
like
was a crew of Puerto Ricans.
something like that.
There was a crew of Puerto Ricans at the White Plains show. Not that I'm not. It's not a racist thing. They were Puerto Rican. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's like
How do you know?
Yeah, because they got busted. They got busted.
Yeah.
And there was like 5 of them. And what would happen is like 3 of
Yeah.
them would be like, "Oh, can I see this, this, this?"
Right.
While the one guy would steal stuff.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what happened to me at the shoe store.
Yep.
One of the reasons why I quit was A, I wasn't getting enough hours, and then B, every time I would work a shift, hundreds of dollars of stuff would get stolen. It was just, dude, these thieves are smarter than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
They got operations,
Yeah.
and we have cameras that caught. It's just
Well,
crazy.
that's why they're not so smart, right? Is they always get caught.
Right, but if they keep coming back.
Yeah.
Maybe if you come that one time. I just remember getting hit. Oh my God, they hit our store for like thousands of dollars one day.
But it's just, I
Didn't
guess
even
my
know.
point was is
Crazy.
that there's a lot of crazy stuff that's happened in the reptile world over the years, whether
Yeah.
it's be smuggling, whether it's, you know, people trying to kill each other over
Mm-hmm.
something stupid. You know, obviously, you know, the Ben Rennick situation where, you know, his wife shoots him dead, you know, and then, you know, doesn't
Well,
get
that's
caught
just
for 4
marriage
years.
discord, but
Well, yeah. But
Damn.
I remember there was another thing that happened around the White Plains show, and I think that these guys got busted at White Plains for this too. Another one of these rings that happened where this is unbelievable. I mean, I remember these people went into a pet shop and literally tied this guy and his wife up, tied them up, and stole all their animals, and left them tied up.
Okay.
You know,
and
I mean, just
what went wrong?
I mean, they did. Those guys got caught too.
Okay.
You know, because they were selling the animals somewhere else. But that was around the White Plains area.
So the moral before we move on is, guys, don't steal animals.
Yeah,
It's hard to
well,
get away
yeah.
with it.
not not only don't
Stick to
steal
cash.
animals, but it's just, I guess my point is that. Well, yeah, cash is easier to
Cash is
hide.
king.
When you have something unique. I mean, we could go on to. I could keep going, but I'm not going to
Yeah,
go
we're
with
good.
it.
I
with
think
the-
we covered it.
But you're going to move on to the super chat. So
Yeah, super chats. Devin, I'm so scared of needles. I did my own first 3 tattoos. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is
Have you
interesting.
ever done a date at Skyline? What? Oh,
It
yeah,
may be a
that's
restaurant?
Yeah, at Niagara Falls. I know what they're talking
Skyline. No,
about, but
yeah, go ahead.
I think that's the Sky Restaurant at
we did not do that.
we did not do that, no, but we've been to Niagara Falls.
Yes.
And that's a little bit of a story going back to the Pantheon, the Senate Hotel. I remember when we booked that hotel on Hotels.com, I remember seeing the picture of the view out the window. And it was like literally like a stone's throw toss away from the Pantheon dome, right? And I thought, this is bullshit. And the reason I thought that was because of Niagara Falls.
Yes.
Because the first time Lori and myself went to Niagara Falls, I booked what I wanted,
it was the
falls
falls
view.
view.
and the picture was out the window, and the falls were like right
Literally
there.
right there.
Yeah, and I paid good money for this room. I paid more money for that room than I did the one in Rome.
Wow.
Oh man.
It was a parking structure.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a
man.
parking structure. The falls was
were
like
way
a
back
quarter
there.
mile away.
But there was a real nice picture on the wall. But the best part is my brother Bob and Becky went. And they got duped by the same fucking thing. I swear
Wow.
we stayed at the same hotel. And he was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, yeah. I said, we did the same thing. Sorry.
Wow.
But now the Pantheon was legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
legit.
It
Like,
was
it-
Well,
crazy.
maybe that's why it was available. Is because everyone was thinking like, well, I did this before. I'm not going to do this again. That's too good of a deal to
I
be
guess
true.
when we went was off season.
It was
Most
off
people
season.
don't go in
Okay.
January. So.
But man, I love that hotel. Brandy said Noah in a haunted house lockdown.
Lockdown. That'd
be pretty
needs to
funny.
happen.
I would be down as long as I would do it
as long
if
as you weren't alone.
right if I had let's
and
say
Eric should
Eric
do
and
it,
I
yeah.
and like we did a legit lockdown. I would do it as long as we had the choice to run out when we
Oh my
wanted.
god! I'm just thinking of when we were messing with you guys down here doing the seance.
Oh,
you guys should totally do
I
it.
know.
It'd be the best.
Oh
so
my
funny.
gosh.
I think it would be even funnier if we could find like a place maybe with real demons.
Demons.
Something like
That would be
No,
fun.
that
Well,
would,
There are
that
a
wouldn't be
couple,
funny
there
at
are a
all.
couple hotels in Michigan that you could maybe look into.
Yeah.
right.
Remember
I've
we went-
tried looking it up. I've tried, and it's just like I find a lot of hotels they don't let you book a room.
Really?
Like I look it up and it's like this
Yeah.
well-known hotel and they're selling party packages. You have to be
You have to have a bunch of
21.
people.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, you have to be 21. You have a
Yeah.
group of people. You drink, and then they take you on a tour.
Oh yeah, that's bullshit.
It's like, no, I
no,
want
you
my
want
own.
an actually, yeah, you want
Yeah.
your own thing, and I think that yeah, I mean,
I need to
get it.
find that place. I've been
Yeah.
searching for years.
Remember when we went to Crystalia in that place?
Oh my
That place
God.
was
Sonic
haunted. Yeah,
Temple
that's supposed to be
definitely has
super
a Sonic
haunted.
yeah.
It's supposed to be
Temple.
super haunted.
And we
Well, it's
went
We went
old. It's very
backstage and-
old.
and we went backstage to
That
go
was
meet
creepy
him,
as
and we
hell.
were walking through
Yeah.
different theater rooms.
Yeah, it was wild.
And while we were on stage, like, you just had an
Yeah.
eerie
Felt
feeling,
weird, yeah.
Yeah.
that
you
you-
wouldn't want to be in there, man.
right? That you don't have everywhere. You don't
Well,
have
maybe-
that feeling
maybe
everywhere.
We can pull some strings, find some inns, and get you guys to stay there overnight.
Well, that would be
Yeah.
awesome. No,
Yeah,
I
'cause
would
then-
do that. I would do that. But
Yeah.
the reason why we kind of brought that up, I think, is because there was a guy, a security guard, that had to stay on like the stage, making
Yeah.
sure that nobody's
Yeah,
breaking
alone. Yeah.
alone, just one guy. And there was like no service back there.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's like nothing you can do besides just
That
watch.
guy,
Oh
that
my
guy seen some
God.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That guy
for
saw
sure.
some shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
because you're right. Because back there, for some reason,
Yeah.
you got no cell service either.
right.
So.
It's
That's
just
creepy.
like it's a thick building. That's why I don't know.
Yeah.
That place is
You know, we
really
had-
cool, but it's
A
creepy.
guy reached out to me, and it's like a Detroit paranormal group that reached out to me recently, and they wanted to actually come here to do a little EVP thing or something like that.
Because of my videos.
Well, that and also we had the little kid hands on the anaconda cage.
Yeah.
That you know.
Can before you can continue on with this, but I just thought of something that was really weird about happened with that Crystalia night. Remember when the show ended?
Oh, that was crazy, dude.
We got stuck.
Everybody in the theater wasn't allowed out. The doors were locked for like
Yeah.
30 minutes.
It was fucking.
Everybody
crazy.
was just
What the hell?
standing.
Well, even like the guards, like
Yeah.
they didn't know.
we were
They're
like, "What's
Well,
up?"
number one,
Yeah, I don't
why
know.
when everyone was in for the show did they lock the doors?
That's
Yeah.
That's weird.
Right in itself, that's
really
effed
weird.
up.
Yeah, it
and then
was.
literally, like you said, everyone got up.
Everyone.
went to the doors. We're talking a couple thousand people or
Yeah.
something like that. And all of a
Literally.
sudden, like you said, like 30 minutes,
was just
everyone's just
stopped.
standing there. And we were up by the stage because we
Yeah.
were going to go backstage. And I even asked the security, I'm like, what's going on? He goes, I don't know what's going on. And he's
Yeah.
like,
They're talking on
literally
their little
talking on the
things and,
walkie-talkies
like,
back and forth. Like, can you tell me what's
Nobody
going
knew
on?
why
are
the
we
doors were locked.
Like all of them.
All of
all
them.
the you
Nobody
could
could
not
get
leave.
out of the.
That's weird.
Not anybody up on the top balconies. Not
Not
nobody.
one person in the
except
place.
for Chris. He dipped out the
Well,
stage.
he went out the back. Yeah.
yeah, but it's just like that never happened. To
I
me
remember,
before,
you know,
and I was
being-
kind of scared, honestly.
Yeah, with me being an anxiety guy, you know, my anxiety was through the fucking roof.
Well, I'm not even as much as you, and I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking like, what the fuck is going on?
I thought there
right
was like a
now?
mass shooting going to happen.
I wasn't. I was.
I wasn't gonna say
highly
that, but I was
irritated.
thinking that. Yeah.
I was like, I gotta pee. I need to get out of this motherfucker.
Well, you were drinking too,
Yeah, I was.
but
Yeah.
I honestly, sadly remember thinking the same thing. I was like,
Yeah.
let me throw a couple Hail Marys up in the air.
I was already
Well, that
thinking
is
like,
scary. Like,
Yeah.
you said 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. It was.
and you could see like
extremely
people at
long,
first,
yeah.
everyone's just like, yeah, and all of a sudden people are looking around like,
Yeah,
why
like,
am I
wait.
stuck in here? You
Yeah.
know, and when are we going to
Yeah.
get out? And
Everyone's
and,
drunk.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like,
I'm
yeah.
surprised people didn't start like trying to push on the door.
Yeah, remember there was
Yeah.
those drunk people behind us, that chick
They
or something like
kicked
that.
him out.
Yeah, they kicked him
Oh,
out
so
because
rude.
well, guys, we've together over the past, well, before the Coronaville, before this, like we were going to a comedy shows
Yeah.
just because
Yeah.
it was. Anyways, every time we went to a show,
there was
there's
someone
always
fucking
some.
heckler behind us.
It's not even heckler because that's a different
yeah,
definition.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're true.
Hecklers
Just
are people
rude.
yelling.
These are
Rude
just
people
rude
always
people.
behind us that are talking through the whole show.
Having
Yeah.
like
They're-
personal conversations.
Yeah, personal
Loud as
conversation.
hell.
While
That's
Chris
really
is on
weird.
stage or something, they're like, "Oh, this is my favorite joke coming up right here, and this is the reason why because I heard it when I was back there." And you're just like, "Dude, I'm trying to listen to the joke
Yeah.
every
The
show
one
I've
guy
ever
was
been
late,
to."
and he's like, "I'm so sorry. Shut up. I'm so mad at you." Da, da, like having an
Right.
argument, and we're like, and literally the person
funny.
says, "Shut the fuck up from the stage,"
Yeah.
because they're being so rude. And I'm just like, "Are you serious?"
Well, that was the thing that was interesting about Chris D'Elia. And I don't think this was part of his act. Because remember when he first came out, he said, if you guys make one noise, I'm kicking you out.
Right.
I seriously think it was real. I don't think,
I do
at
too.
first you
No,
were like,
because
is he
was
joking?
filming. He was
Yeah.
filming for something.
No, he was filming the next day. He was filming the next day, not that day.
Oh.
This was his last show before his HBO special or his Comedy Central special or whatever, or Netflix special. Yeah, whatever it was. But nevertheless, it's cool. By the way, Frank is giving a couple bucks for the Sloth Fund. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Frank.
Thank you,
$2 ain't
Frankie.
going to get us anywhere near a sloth, but thanks.
It's the start,
Damn.
though. Every
It's
penny
not.
counts.
You know what they say. You know
It's
how
true.
you know how you eat an elephant, right?
You start from the toe.
No, one bite at a time. So $2 at a time.
You're going about the sloth the wrong way. You need to start talking about the venomous snakes, and then she'll
Yeah,
go for
then
the
yeah,
sloth.
yeah. I should get Brandy. No.
Oh my
demons.
God.
I'm an occultist. When I visit the Reptarium, are you game? Oh my
As
God,
long as, like,
Brandy.
well,
Brandy,
Can-
give me the
okay.
heads up when you plan on coming.
Hold up.
I'll just leave it
yeah,
at
I'm
that.
scared. I'm
Brandy,
afraid.
can
Man.
I talk about this for a second?
I'm scared.
I'm a scared.
I'm a scared.
I'm a scared.
Oh shit! This. I'm a scared. That shit got me good when he said that. Yeah, like if you do it, like I'll watch through FaceTime. Like we can FaceTime. Like
Why don't you,
know?
FaceTime now and do it and see
Right.
if you can
Let me-
connect the portal?
Let me like. Oh. No, I'm
An
good.
occultist,
I just want to like
man.
watch it.
That's the next shirt.
Just 'cause, like,
Shit
I'm-
this, I'm a scared.
Shit! This. I'm a scared. I'm a scared.
You guys should make some podcast merch. And
I know.
I know.
Shit,
that.
this.
Shit! This.
I'm scared.
I'm a scared.
I am. I'm scared of that, man. That occultist shit is scary. But I'd like to see it, though. I'm not
Me
even
too.
gonna lie.
It's because all we get to see is Zach Bagans and his shenanigans.
And that's just, yeah.
But one of my goals in life is to get well known enough to be invited on Ghost Adventures.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Just, I just want to be on there, man, just to be with
Is that
Zach.
the one where they
you know what
like
I mean?
yell at the ghosts?
It's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one
yeah,
where
yeah.
every show Zach
There's
gets
always,
like,
yeah, he's
he gets,
possessed.
he gets pissed off and he goes, "Rah, rah," and he goes, dude, back up, I'm gonna hit you. He goes, I'm gonna hit you, and then a second goes by and he goes, I'm sorry, man, that wasn't me, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
That
It
was
wasn't
the
the
ghost-
steroids.
That's
It
my
was
favorite
not the
of the ghost
steroids.
shows.
It was not the
But I
steroids.
love it so much, man. I just
I do
love
love
that
the
show.
I do love the
so
show.
bad.
and I would
watch it.
love
So
to
bad.
be a part of it just
It's
one
just-
time.
It's
Zach,
entertaining that it's like so bad. Though.
Exactly.
I love it.
Right. Yeah. And no matter where they go, it's massively
That shit's haunted.
Everywhere they go.
Everywhere.
It doesn't matter.
Everywhere.
I love
They
it.
go to the
We
grocery
paid
store.
money for that freaking demon
Yeah,
house.
the demon house. I like this. I liked it.
I like Demon House.
I liked it.
You know which movie was a real curveball? Because, like, it wasn't that good, but, like, I look back and I'm like, all right, it's not bad. It was that, I think it was called Devil. It's based in an elevator.
I like that
Like,
movie.
the whole one.
Oh,
I fell
yeah.
asleep. I fell asleep. Was it good?
I liked
it was
it.
all right. Like,
I liked it.
I
was-
remember
liked
because
it.
there was a twist. Like
It was a
we
big
were
Well,
twist.
it's
Yes.
an M. Night Shyamalan
Yes.
movie.
Yeah.
There's always
Because
a
at the
twist.
end, I
Yeah.
was just like,
Twist.
"Whoa, okay, you got me."
I liked it personally,
Yeah, that was
but
good.
yeah,
It was-
I thought it was good. Yeah, it
it's,
was
a,
good.
it's like
one
my
you made me-
24-hour
you made
challenge
me
for you.
watch, so, yeah. It's like there's always a
But
twist.
didn't Post Malone go on Ghost
A
Adventures?
lot of famous people have. Yeah, they bring them. That's why I say this because
You'll
like
know
it's like
you've
a
arrived.
thing.
So if anyone knows anyone that knows the
Get
crew,
me on.
Get on there.
And
Bad
I
choice
used to-
Noah
I-
wants
yeah.
to be on.
you know what's going to be the worst part is they do it, and every time they bring on a special guest, they have the special guest be in a room alone. They'll be like, "All right, we're sending you in. This is
So
how
you'll
we
be
bring you into the team."
crying. You'll
So
be
I'll be in
crying.
the fucking basement.
You'll have to see if they can make an exception and do you and Eric.
Oh, that
That's
could be
not a
good
bad-
because at least
they-
you could hug and cry.
yeah.
Well, that would be funnier.
Yeah.
That would be funnier.
It'd be better though if it was just you. You'd be
They
more
might
terrified.
separate us. Yeah, if they might separate us.
You'd be in separate rooms, just crying separately.
Yeah, right.
There's that there's
That would
new
be great
show-
content. Ghost Adventures, please.
There's that new show that we watched a couple of them. It's that Dakota that's on the film crew. And then like his family goes and they stay in these like haunted places, but they sleep in the separate at night.
Yeah, they sleep in it.
But separate. Like you're over in this basement,
Yeah.
you're in this building, you're over here, and they have to go through the whole
You
night
talking
alone.
about doing a family thing?
No, this is like a real show.
No, it's a
I
show.
wouldn't do
This is already a
that.
show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. Although I'd do it, I think it'd be good.
It's
Fuck that.
this show is
That's what I said.
It's okay.
It doesn't. It's okay. As hard as it may be to swallow this pill, guys, it feels just like a YouTube video, though.
It does kind of feel like
It doesn't
yeah.
feel too TV-ish.
No, yeah.
Needs some more something.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sherry,
Don't know what
Spider
it says, so good luck.
Spider Web said give pastel clown lesser clown image.
Oh, text like my aunt.
So yeah, I mean, I'm sorry.
Shout
That
out
was
to
just
Burn on two people.
Spider web. I'm not sure what that means, but
It doesn't matter.
but
Is that
I-
a gravel pastel
Pas-
clown, lesser clown? What? A double clown?
yeah, I don't know exactly,
worry.
but
Sounds
nevertheless,
cool.
it's
Sounds
thank you,
cool.
thank
Yeah,
you,
dude.
thank you for the super chat though.
Dope.
Eric just says, "Cool, man, you're cool,
Thanks.
Hey,
excellent." man.
thank Castro.
Another Eric says, question for the group: Brooks Kings versus Honduran milk. I want a cool medium colubrid. That's a good question.
So,
Um,
do you want me to take this?
yeah, go ahead. You take it. You're the
Since I'm the
colubrid.
colubrid person.
Yeah, you're the colubrid person.
The queen.
So it really depends on what you're looking for. So Brooks Kings, they'll get actually a bit beefier.
Yeah.
They can be more food aggressive.
Yeah. I think they're a little
Hondur-
more chill, though. No.
Brooks Kings?
Yeah. No.
No.
the
So
They have like the best feeding response.
Yes,
though. If
and
you
that's-
want something
they're
that's
not
never going to
aggra-
refuse a meal.
exactly. They're not aggressive, but they've
Yeah.
got like a
That's why
crazy feeding
Eric always
response.
gets bit. He goes like,
Always a Brooks King.
and it's just
No,
whoosh.
for sure.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah,
once
they're
they know
sharks.
you're not getting fed, they're fine. Where
Yeah.
Hondurans don't have that, but Hondurans,
I think Hondurans have a lot of cool colors. Don't
exactly. They've got a lot of
I
different
really like the
cool
Honduran.
color patterns.
Is it? Am I wrong
So-
by saying this? That's the one where there's the Halloween morph,
Yeah.
right?
Well, no, that's
Pueblan.
Pueblan.
That's a Pueblan.
Oh, okay.
But there's some really cool, like, you
I
know,
thought that was like
orange.
a Honduran. I'm
but
not
there's like
educated.
Halloweeny looking animals that look just like the Hondurans, but or like the
Are
Pueblans,
the
but are
extreme tangerines?
yes.
Yeah,
'cause
those
you
ones
got
are
big
beautiful,
or-
and those
you know,
are
high orange.
those
and
are really
stuff.
cool.
yeah. So
I love
those are
those.
beautiful. But
Yeah.
but I
But
think you
either
can't go.
one,
I
they're
think
both
you can.
cool.
Yeah, you
so
can't go both big.
I
cool
say go with
colubrids.
what you like because
I
you're the
love-
one who's going to look at it every day.
Colubrids are really cool.
I
Like,
love them, man.
because you know how colubrids are like there's like the they're grouped in together, right?
yep.
And ball pythons are as well. But ball pythons are different because they all look the same body with
Right.
different paint
Yeah.
jobs. Colubrids are grouped in with completely different body
yeah,
types.
You've got
Yeah,
rat
it's
right?
snakes, corn
Yeah,
snakes,
king
and
king
mouse
snakes. Yep.
gophers.
So there's a
Pines,
lot
yeah.
more to choose from, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of different variation of skull shape and the way they move and stuff. It's cool. Like
Well, I think colubrids
I
are
like-
coming back too. You know, people are appreciating them. We've been
I think so
colubrid
too.
people.
I think
yeah.
that like people were really into ball pythons for a really
Yeah.
long time, but I think variety is starting to.
Yeah, I
come
think
back.
variety is coming
Yeah.
back. Yeah,
I would-
think so.
this maybe I mean I'm sure if anybody you would know. Is there like a blue, like a legit blue colubrid?
Not really. There's some Florida blue garters. Can you Google
Yeah,
that? Florida blue.
Taiwanese blue beauties.
Yeah, they're kind of a steel
Kind of.
bluish,
Also
steel
like
gray.
not just like out there. Like one that we could own.
but yeah, the Florida blues are about as good as you're going to get. So that's not a good picture there. Maybe
I mean, you
down
can see it a little bit, for
So
sure.
some are good and some are bad. Maybe down all the way to the left, that one there. I think that one's about as blue as you're going to get right there. But they are. We had one for a number of years. We just had a male. We never had a
Exactly.
female.
We couldn't
And,
do anything.
Yeah, we couldn't do anything because we just had a male. But it was blue. It
So
was beautiful.
let me. So like I said, you're the freaking expert here. I know nothing. These are just thoughts. Let me know if this is possible. So you know how the rhino rat snake's green and it's got that nice blue.
Yeah.
Can people work with those in the future to
Yeah, yeah.
breed
So-
out a
so what you-
different bluer color?
Yeah, so what you would do is you want to, so obviously what makes up green? Blue and yellow.
Okay.
So if you could take the yellow away, xanthophore, so if you went axanthic, you could potentially produce a blue snake.
Okay.
And that's kind of how some things think. Jay, can you punch up blue-green tree python? So
Right,
this is
those
probably
are
the blue, it's
awesome.
probably
I
the
love
bluest
those.
snake that you
Yeah.
could possibly get. And they're not axanthic. These are hormonal things that happen with that. And there are some locality specific as well. So there's
Wow.
some locality specific ones that are blue. And then there's and the blue ones are always come from like the cyclops, which are red babies, typically turn blue. And then there's hormonal ones that are green, and when they go into an ovulation, then they turn
Look at
blue.
that purple one. That one's got to be fake.
So
huh?
like Phoenix Reptiles, Bill down in Texas, he has some amazing blue cyclops that are really amazing
love those.
animals.
Those are
and,
awesome.
and I think he's got one that's called the Sickness. You know, that's
The
not a
that one's
that's
really
not the
cool.
blue one, but it's called
like
the
the black. And
yeah, it's like black and it's
blue
like
and
computer
green.
crazy. The
Yeah, it's
sickness,
really
yeah,
cool.
sickness. Yeah, there it is, right there.
Whoa.
That's
Yeah,
like
that's
the
the
coolest one I've ever
sickness.
seen.
Yeah, that's
Holy
the sickness.
The
crap.
Sutherlands had a cool one
The
similar
Sutherlands
to that.
have some really good ones as well. Yeah, so
So how much would that cost? Like if I was like, all
Oh my
right, dude,
gosh.
I want to buy this
How much
from
would
you.
the sickness cost?
the sickness would be on $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. You know,
So
Like,
is it one of one or
it's
there-
one of one, but
Oh,
I think
okay.
that if he could
He
probably
has
reproduce.
siblings, though. There's like
Yeah.
the plague and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
and I think that, yeah,
That's cool. I like that guy.
And he's a
That guy's cool.
doctor too, by the way.
Oh shit.
Well, he's an anesthesiologist.
Do you know
yeah.
him?
Yeah, we're good friends with. You know, we've been down there a bunch of times.
I think that we may have came to not necessarily a realization because I think we've always thought this, but I think that we should start pushing to get people like that on.
Yeah, well, Bill would be a great guy to get on because he's a
Yeah.
good dude and he's got some really cool stuff. He's a great guy.
And there's
I agree.
so many people like that in the reptile world where their personal collections, everyone's got different preference. So they're like, well, my
Everyone's
favorite thing
got a
is this.
different niche. Yeah.
Right. So to interview, or not even interview, have on, maybe interview a little bit
Yeah.
and just get
Yeah,
their
just a
perspective from.
conversation. You know, there's a lot of
I think that would
interesting
be real fun.
characters, and I think the thing that I always want to be careful with is that I always say that I don't want to. So, like the Checking In podcast, I don't want to make a reptile podcast per se, like where it's like almost so nichey.
Well, it
but
doesn't-
when you get into,
yeah.
like you said, if it's like a Pete Call or it's someone else, it's other people are going to be interested in it because it's an interesting person, not just a reptile person.
And you don't have to just talk about reptiles.
Right,
Like, they have
exactly.
other experiences
Yeah.
in their lives.
Well, yeah.
Let me shoot this idea at you.
Mhm.
Well, right. We don't necessarily want to make it all that,
Right.
but we have a lucky advantage where we can still get those guests.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So we can
sure.
mix them in between
Yeah.
the other shows.
Oh, I definitely want. I mean, listen, I'm.
Whoa, Zoe knocked something down over there.
That freaked me out, man. Holy cow. Just a huge.
I saw it happen. Poor girl.
Holy
Probably
cow.
scared
Oh my
her
gosh,
worse
yeah.
than us.
It did.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened?
She's
Yeah.
terrified.
But I think my point is we're going to always be reptile
Yeah.
people and animal people, so I don't want to go away from that.
I understand.
You know, but at the same time, there's a lot of good reptile
Yeah.
podcasts out there. I don't want to be another one of them. I want to be unique. And,
Well,
and,
100%. Well, even
but
just us with the guests is going to be completely different because we're
Oh, sure.
different people.
No, I
and-
agree. And we're more interested, kind of like when Miguel came on the podcast. We didn't really even talk about reptiles much. We just talked about his life and things like that. And I think that's what is interesting to me is like, yeah, we might all have great reptile stories. Certainly we've got 30 years of reptile stories to talk about.
Yeah.
But there's more to every person than just reptiles. And,
Yeah.
and like I said, it is weird, I think, with the podcasts that are reptiles. It seems like everyone recycles almost the same people too. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of interesting. Like I saw Bill Brandt was on one the other day. I think MJ actually had him on,
Really?
if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. And that was cool. I think that's.
I was literally
yeah.
just
that's
thinking
really
of him
cool.
the other day and wondering how him and Marsha
Yeah,
were.
I mean, he's not. So Bill is an amazing, amazing person, a legend in the reptile world. Obviously, set standards for reptiles that probably has as much to do with reptile propagation than any person on the planet, because he really wrote the book on how to breed reptiles in quantity.
Wow.
You know, I mean, he was the first person to do multiple cycles of colubrids, multiple cycles of leopard geckos.
And
You know,
to like push
he
the
found
boundaries
this-
of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, he pretty much
He
wrote the book.
started Gourmet Rodent.
Yeah, the Gourmet
Wow.
Rodent, which supplies all of Petco. So all of Petco, he's the guy that did all
Can
of it.
Can I also add this to the thing too? So, and again, this isn't like bashing anybody by any means, but I think that it's also a little bit different because you are Brian Barczyk. So you got different than the other podcasts
Mm-hmm.
because you have much deeper roots with these people.
You're like a legend yourself, basically.
Well, it's
yeah.
Old. You've been
Yeah,
around
no,
for a
it's
really long
Well,
I
yeah.
think that's what he was saying with the shoes too.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
old as
exactly. Yeah.
shit.
So
And
it's what they
Yeah.
say, you know the saying, you die a legend or you live old enough to become a villain.
Yeah.
And I think I've passed
You've
the
done
legend
both.
stage.
You've done
I've passed the
both.
legend stage. I'm now the villain. But no, I see what you're saying. I mean, we've just been around a lot, and it's we've seen so much. I mean, I
Yeah.
sometimes think about that, like how wild it's been that we
It doesn't feel that long.
No, it doesn't feel that long, but
It
you
goes
know,
by fast, like after
Yeah.
you get past a certain age.
yeah, it's just crazy how quick it goes. But I mean, it's been 30 something years. You figure we founded BHB in 1989 is when we found
89.
89 is when we
Before
found it.
we were
Wow.
born.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was when we became a business, and of course we were doing it for a few years before that. But that was when we filed as a business for the first
And
time.
what age
1990.
what age were you?
I was 20.
20.
Yeah, so I was in 1969
So
when I was born. I'm a 60s
so
child.
what decade did you live your 20s through?
The
80s
well,
or the
I
90s?
turned 20 in 89, so 90s I was in my
90s.
20s, yeah.
So right now, the 20s is going to be what I lived through
Right.
my 20s.
Yep.
When you look back at the 90s, what do you think about that time of your life?
My gosh, we had our daughter.
Yeah.
We there were some of the best times and some of the
We
worst
got
times of
married,
our
we
life.
had Jade. We
Yeah.
were just starting our
Yeah, we
business.
bought our first
That was
house.
we bought our house. We actually stopped working another jobs.
Yeah, we went
working
full
just for
time. Yeah, working
ourselves,
full
like-
time. But at the same time, there came a lot of
That's
strife
cool.
too, because I mean, I tell people this all the time.
course.
I'll never forget this one time. Laura, you may or may not remember this, but I remember we were in Vermander, our first house, and we had Jade, obviously, because we moved in with Jade, and
What? You mean
No.
you birthed her?
Yeah.
no, well, no,
Been
no, what
with
I'm
her.
saying-
We actually, I had her.
what I'm saying is that
Grew
what I was saying
In with her.
what I meant by moved in with her is that we had her before we had the house.
Yeah.
So when we moved into that house, we already
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
Jade.
I know.
My daughter, as I say. Yeah. Sometimes I talk in circles. The point is that I remember there was a time where it was like, say a Wednesday or something like that.
Okay.
And we literally I didn't have enough money to buy a gallon of milk. We were out of milk, and I did not have enough money to buy milk
Right.
at that point. So there were some great times, and there were some horrible times in our
Struggles.
life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think the 90s were amazing and also very troubling at the same time.
Totally.
But it was I think it was a decade that really dictated what our future was going to be in some extent.
First, 100%.
But at the same time, I will say this honestly, and this is why this is one of the things we talked about Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, in the
Okay.
past, is that he is right in the sense that when you're 20 or even you're 30, I think that I was probably 40 before I felt like I really found my way.
Okay.
I think it was probably in my 40s when I finally was like, all right, it's only been the last 6 years. So I was probably 44 years old when
Have you found your way?
I mean, I do think I found my way if it wasn't for the C word, I think that we did find where I was finally happy, with the Reptarium and with everything we were doing. I think I had finally found what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
YouTube and all the other things that were going on. I think I was
don't
happy.
know.
That's cool.
Honestly, I think that, when I think back to like our 20s and stuff like that, I think we were happy. And
Yeah.
yes, that's the thing. Like, even if you're, still like struggling and working really hard, because at those times, honestly, like, yeah, we had a young kid and I was doing what I could during the day, but mainly I was taking care of our child, and she would take a nap and I would work, but then she would go to the bed at night, and then I would stay up
Yeah.
after that till
And
like
work,
1,
yeah.
2 in the morning
Yeah,
and
working.
work on the animals and stuff like that and do whatever. But honestly, I've got very fond memories. Like, I liked our life then.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
you know
I
what
do
I
too.
mean?
It was much more
Because-
simple.
yeah,
it was a simpler life,
it was
yeah.
a simple life. We were happy. We were working hard to achieve something we were working at.
Yeah.
And yeah, we weren't rolling in the dough, but we were working towards it and
You
having
weren't working
fun.
for somebody else,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
know,
it's
so-
yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I do
Snoop
agree.
Dogg said something that really resided with me, which I think is your life
Mhm.
and also mine, but yours just because you've lived a lot more years, obviously.
Keeps going back to that.
Because
doesn't
you're
it?
old.
Well, no,
Shit.
no,
Going back to the fucking Jordans again.
everything goes back. No, listen, you're old as shit. But no, so Snoop Dogg said, people ask me, do I ever look back at my top hits and kind of just think about, oh wow, what a great time? And he said, no, I don't do that. You ask LeBron about his highlights when he's got more highlights to create.
Yeah.
He's
You
not
look to-
retired yet.
Yeah, you look
he's
to the
like
future.
he's like Snoop in his mind. He's like, I'm not retired yet. Like, I still got more highlights to make. Why am I gonna look at my highlights while
Right, you're
I'm
still
chill?
looking forward.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's like you
Yeah.
right now. Is like, you're still trying to make some highlights in your life, so
Yeah.
you don't look
I'm not
back
done. Yeah,
yet.
I'm not done by a long shot. I
Right.
mean,
I thought
you
that
know,
was a unique perspective. It's like, I'm still
I
a
appreciate
player.
you. idea all the
But you
time.
know what? I'm done. So I like looking back at the highlights because
Yeah.
I'm done.
And then also,
Brian's like, I'm just getting started.
I feel like I am
More
just
and more
getting
and more to
started.
do.
I feel like I am. Yeah.
Wife
You
number
are.
2 can take that.
well, let me.
Whoa.
I know that's fucked up. I know she always jokes about that. That's pretty fucked up. But the reason why I brought up the 20-year-old stuff is because I want to hear your guys' memories about it, because that's what I'm about to live through.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, buying your first house. I haven't done that yet, but guess what? In my 20s, I'm going to be able to do that. Like, it gets me excited hearing about other people doing it, because it's just like, wow, like that's about to happen for me. Get married.
think
Maybe
everyone's
I'm
different, though,
hopefully
you know?
I get married in my 20s. I don't know. Maybe I'll be 30 when I have it. I don't know, but like just cool stuff like that. Real big life events are about to happen in my life, and I'm excited for it. So I,
think
just
you
like to
should be
hear.
excited, but I also don't. I think that everyone's different. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's pace is different. Everyone hits different strides at different ages. And what happened with we were really young starters. I mean, obviously we had a kid when we were 20 years old, and everything started young for us. And in some ways that's great, because now, even though I'm 50 and Lori's not. Yet.
That's how it works.
Lori's
That
That's
is
how it
true. I am not.
Yeah, Lori's much younger than me. The thing is that we put a lot of those big, huge life events behind. Now we can focus on some other things. But I think that, like we talked about last week, it's about balance. And right now, my balance isn't very good. You know what I mean? And not only am I dizzy and lightheaded sometimes, fall down, but my balance in life is not very good. And I need to learn how to balance a lot more. And
Sure.
I think that's the thing. And I think when you're in your 20s, even 30s, you just enjoy the little things a lot more, and you have to like maybe work harder at enjoying them as you get older, because you have just not everyone, but us, we have so many more responsibilities. You know what I mean? Like there's always I always talk about this. In my 30s, I thought I was as busy as I could possibly get, and now I'd be on vacation. Right? Like my life now, if I look back on the 30s, I'm like, oh my God, I was like part-time back then.
Right.
But in my 30s, I literally thought that was the busiest I could possibly be. So you build a tolerance for being busy, running things, doing things, all this type of
Some
stuff.
people do.
Well, some people do, yeah. And then sometimes you fall off the edge, But that I think that's what's the difference between the 30s.
No,
and,
I think so too. Like, it's really funny you say that, because like yesterday was a beautiful day outside.
yeah.
And then, I
Oh.
walked.
I'm sorry. Oh, that was Miguel.
What?
Miguel. Boy. We'll get back to these in a second.
Yeah,
Finish your
let's
thoughts.
finish
Yeah,
this
really
shit.
quick. I was just going to say it was a beautiful day outside. I'm walking Phoebe. She has to use the bathroom. And then I decide it's a beautiful day, so we're going to walk all the way around the block. So as I'm walking her, I'm just, walking her, enjoying the day. And it's weird how life is. Like, you just get like feelings and you get remembrances from
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
things. So I'm like enjoying the day, and then I just kind of get this feeling between the sun and the temperature and whatever.
Yeah.
And I literally flash back, and I'm like, wow, like this feels, like a memory. And then I'm like, what does this remind me of? And I'm thinking back, and literally it reminded me of when we were back living in Vermander, like in a really nice, spring/summer day, hanging out in the yard when Jade was little, like, you know what I mean? It was so weird. And,
Yeah.
and it just took me back, and I'm like, oh my God, like, it's crazy, how long ago that was. but yeah, it made me happy. It's like, oh my God, like I was so happy. Like, that was such a good time. You know,
Yeah,
It's
and
that's
weird
stuff
great
how our
like
brain
that.
connects memories to
Yeah,
different
just
things,
weird,
like
whether it's
smells or
exactly.
like the light or like
Yep.
sounds.
Yep.
That always happens. I don't even know what the smell is, but sometimes, like, I'm being serious.
No,
I don't
I know
know
what you
what it
mean.
is, but sometimes just a fragrance will go up my nozzles,
Yeah.
and then I'm just like, and I'm just like, damn, you know what
Where
I mean?
am I?
No, I agree with you 1,000%.
Something just hits different, and then you just start thinking about memories.
No,
Yeah.
I think it is. Let me catch up real quick. Jeffrey
for
is years ago I made You made me
made
love
me.
reptiles. Thank you for starting it. Thank you.
Thank you,
Oh,
Jeff.
that's awesome. Venomous fun. Beautiful.
Oh,
I
I'm
love
sorry,
Oh yeah,
Lori.
that'll go in the wine fund too. But okay.
it. Soulless honky again. This is for the venomous sloth fun. I love it.
Wow.
Oh my
You know
gosh.
what?
Let's
Actually,
keep this
I will
going.
consider the venomous sloth once we find that.
Well, you can do a
okay?
platypus. We could do a
Soulless honky.
we could do a platypus.
Platypus.
I'd be down for a platypus.
You know what?
Can we
I
get one?
like Perry the platypus.
Yeah,
So,
I always loved that show.
Connor, would you ever consider getting a male anaconda? I wanted to. Lori pretty much said no, and I
I mean, we have two now.
yeah, and I mean the thing is that some things are worth the argument, other things aren't. That one isn't worth it to me, so
Thank you.
we'll move on from that. Will, hey guys, here's $5 for the hairy mammal cage.
Hey,
Yeah.
Love you.
My
$5.
next dog, thanks.
What is this?
Sloth. What the
Maduna
hell is
Shum.
going
Mandu
on?
Nation,
I
sloth
swear
fun.
to God, people.
hell yeah,
Thanks. Keep it coming, baby.
we're gonna be able to buy a
They're
couple
never
sloths.
gonna quit, Lori. What the heck?
Let's see. Jesse says, "What do you think of Candinos picking up one this
They're
weekend?
beautiful.
They're amazing. Do we have ours
I don't
still,
really
or we
like
sold
ball
them?
I
pythons,
think
but
I have a
Candinos
male.
are really pretty.
Okay, male.
Yeah.
Male, okay.
Female soul.
I agree.
Murphy said, "No
More
sloth
wine.
fun,
Yes,
more wine."
I love you, Murphy
Oh,
Pink.
damn, man.
Thank
Come
you.
on. Let's see. Roja, is that what it is?
Roja
Peter's banded skinks are really
Destroya.
cool.
Roja? Do you have any Peter's banded skinks? No, but I do like them. I
They're
really
really
do.
cute.
They are
Yeah.
cute. They are really cute. I've looked at them a million times, thinking about maybe getting them sometime. The Elusive Gamer. Is that what that says?
Yeah.
The Elusive Gamer. Hey, Brian, Lori, Jessica, love from Dallas. Questions. Have you considered getting a Filipino sailfin dragon?
I said
Yeah.
sailfin,
Weren't you
but
guys
you said they
talking
beat
about
their
that, or
faces
no?
up,
Yeah, they
right?
beat their face up. I mean, I think that.
And we just
I
got
Yeah, we just got some stuff
some
that you'll
some
see.
things.
You'll see.
I haven't even seen.
But,
I'm
but I
excited.
do like the Philippine. I do love them. They're really cool. One day I'd like to put them maybe 3.0. We can build a big enough cage that's got enough foliage that they could live in
That'd
there.
be cool.
Ironically enough, usually they're psychotic, but Reptilia up by Toronto has one that's tame that you can take out.
We can do it.
Really?
Yeah.
We can do it.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's them, but is that the one that's like all black with blue eyes?
No, I don't know that.
There's
that
a
one is-
person I follow that
Oh.
has one that's like
Oh,
the
yeah.
prettiest sailfin I've ever seen.
That's
Yeah.
let's see. We got Eric says fan. Thank you, number one
one
fan.
fan.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Of course, we got always evolving pythons in the
Miguel.
house. Miguel, what's up, bro?
with the
course,
hundo.
Of course, Miguel's always one
Thank
of
you,
my
Miguel.
dear friends. Thank you, Miguel. You shouldn't have, but you should do more. To be honest,
saw
with
him.
you. I'm just gonna
Shouldn't
say
have, but you should have.
you should do more.
Yeah.
The wine
no,
fund is lacking.
no, seriously, love you, Miguel. We were talking earlier today, and we just can't wait till we can hang out again and him come out here, us go out there, and
Wait, can I tell a Miguel story?
Yeah, let's tell a
He
Miguel
almost
story.
fucking killed me.
on his little
Miguel
fucking
almost fucking
four-wheeled
killed
thing.
me
Yeah.
before.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
let's hear the story.
So he's got these fucking little razor scooter things.
Yeah,
Like
they're-
they're like
four-wheel
super
drive, yeah.
super fast, super agile little things.
Yeah.
So Miguel's like, "All right, buddy, we're going on a nighttime trip, right?"
Yeah.
He calls his professional dirt bike rider friend. Where, hey, this guy is a professional dirt bike rider.
Yeah,
You know
they
what I
have-
mean?
they
He's
have
got
no
his
sense.
razor. He's legit like the best driver I've ever seen. Just right.
Yeah.
We're going right behind him on the trail. So when you're behind someone in these dirt trails,
Yeah, dust is all up.
dust
in
is
there.
all up on you, right? So that's at the start. We're like, okay, we're on like flat ground. It's fine, right? We go up the hill. We're on these mountains where if you fall off, you're falling for hundreds, if not maybe thousands of feet.
Nice.
Right? So we're behind this dust trail. Miguel hits a bump, right? Boom. We're in the air. I'm just like, whoa, shit.
wait, are you on the same one?
No,
Are you-
not yet.
Okay.
And then, so we're hitting, boom. We're like falling off, right? And then we get grip and we stop. And we like, he like backs it up. And then we get up and we're just like, holy fuck, dude. We almost just died. We almost just died. We're looking at each other. We stop it. The professional guy's still going for a while. He's driving, and then after about a minute or two, he stops and realizes that we're not there. But dude, we literally almost died together.
I could see that.
Isn't that wild?
No, I could see Miguel.
Like you guys seem
Oh,
like you don't give a fuck. Like
no, because
no,
you're still alive.
No, I'm just thinking the next time I see Miguel. Yeah, I want to talk about this.
No, I'm not. I'm happy you're alive.
I'm happy I'm alive too.
I'm happy you're alive. And that's how accidents do happen.
Yeah.
No, like
Kick some ass.
when that happened, I was like, that was my life flashing before my eyes again. That's happened so many times where I'm just like, thank fuck, whoever's watching me, my guardian angel, has saved me so many times just from little things like that. I can think of easily 7 or 8 things where I've almost died.
That's meant that you need to do something in your life in the future. You're going to be important. Your lifeline.
I try. I want to. I try.
No, but I think that it's easy to get into that thing. I've done that with motorcycles and different things. Like afterwards, you're like, oh my god.
That's usually what I do. Like when I get on things, I'm just like in the moment, and then afterwards.
Well, actually, you know what, Bruce and Jessica, you do remember this? I forgot to bring this up to you guys. This is like months ago, and you guys were behind me, and a car pulled out. It was going down Van Dyke.
Yeah, because we were going to call you. Yes.
Yep. Literally, I called Lori because literally I'm going like 45 miles down the road, and that car just pulls out.
Out of nowhere, just like...
Yeah, just pulls out from the side street. Like, I mean, like...
Yeah.
And I was like, how did I not crash that car?
Yeah,
Well,
we were right behind you, and we were
I
like,
saw
whoa.
them, and I was like, what the hell is Bruce doing?
Yeah.
And then you told me that story.
Yeah,
was like,
I
oh.
always forgot to bring it up with you guys because you guys are right behind me. I literally...
I do remember that.
Same thing, you think like I could have just died.
Well, yeah, and then I think I told this on the last podcast. Mom didn't even effing notice. We witnessed, I mean, I say we because she was one car ahead of me. I was looking at her. We witnessed a 6-7 car pileup, and she didn't even notice.
She didn't even know.
Zero
Well, she was driving, probably.
Well, we were both driving. I was driving behind her.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, it's just zero recollection. Like, if I wasn't behind her, she would have never known that 7 people just got into a car accident.
Yeah, it's
How
crazy.
crazy is that?
Yeah.
You need to pay attention more.
Yeah, I need to pay
Well,
attention.
it wasn't with me, so I was good.
Oh, let's see. Amber. Oh,
Yeah,
geez,
keep
nice.
it that way, I
That's
guess.
nice. Yeah. Amber, thanks for the wonderful happy birthday video sent to me by Sydney. Yes, I did that too. I actually redid it because obviously I messed something up on that. So I apologize. I messed the first one up. Everyone should do it, even if it's just to brighten someone's day. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And yes,
Nicholas,
like I said,
the last.
Let's see. We've got Tim. Tim again. He's always
Sloth
there.
Fun.
Sloth Fun. He's always great. He supports us all the time.
Thanks,
you, Tim
Timmy.
Vincent. I appreciate you so much. We have
Nicholas.
Nicholas,
Irish.
yes.
We're getting
He's a fan.
we're getting wine and we're getting Sloth Fun. So
Yeah,
this is
this
great.
is
And a
great.
little bit of venomous. So that's Levi says, Brian, thank you for inspiring me to become a herpetologist. I'm currently looking to buy an Ackie monitor, but I have no idea where to buy one. I hope you guys are staying safe. They're out there. They're out there. Thank you so much, by the way. And they are out there. There's plenty of Ackies out
Another
there.
sloth fun from Nicholas.
All right. So
Oh,
Nick,
wait
did
a
he do?
second.
He did wine
He did
and
wine.
then he
Okay,
did wine
yes.
and then
you
he
can't, You can't
Can't do
play
both.
both sides, Nick.
Damn.
Come on.
did. Dude.
We pay attention to the names.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That means that you gotta just get in the sloth side.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
that 5's going to wine too. Next.
Oh my gosh, no. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And ironically enough, a lot of people have been sending me underground reptiles, which are friends of ours that just sent us some animals. Actually, they've had a sloth available now.
Yeah,
for the
but
last
we don't
little
want
bit.
it, so thanks.
But so I've had about a dozen people send me the thing, but I've talked to Ryan from Underground about the sloth he has and stuff like that, and it's just not the right one at the right time.
No.
Not the right one at the right time.
Because I've been looking at the Irish Wolfhound.
Oh my gosh!
That
I tell you what,
Oh,
we can make a
man.
deal. We can make a deal right now. We make a deal right now.
could we?
We'll get an Irish Wolfhound if I can get a sloth.
Well,
right now.
Where's
Can I
the sloth going to go?
Can I tell you a deal? I don't need to have a deal to get an Irish Wolfhound.
I'm just saying.
I think you both could probably say that.
Sherry gave us something for the platypus fund.
Nice.
I'm team platypus.
What is that platypus team? Yeah, it's got to be a male though, because males are the only venomous ones. Females aren't venomous.
Oh.
Yeah,
So is it venomous like it would envenomate you? Or
They've got
no?
little things at the back of their claw, little pokers, and those pokers have venom on them. They also lay eggs. They're
So
a
would it
mammal that
hurt-
lays eggs.
Would it hurt us if it
Yes,
poked us?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Would it kill us?
I don't know. Can you search that up? Are platypus's venom deadly? I don't think so. I don't know what even kind
It's
of
probably
venom
meant
it
for
is.
smaller animals. Yeah.
I would think, but I don't know what the venom is. If it's a neurotoxin, a hemotoxin, if it's, I don't know anything really about the venom itself. Let's see. They produce venom,
It's not
not
non-lethal
lethal.
to
Okay.
humans.
Well, that's a good. That's good news.
Excruciatingly
Probably like a
painful,
Gila
though.
monster.
It is excruciating.
Probably like a Gila monster.
Yeah, it's probably like a Gila monster. Excruciatingly
Well, that's
painful.
not good because remember, we had that friend who got bit by that Gila, and that was
That was bad.
disgusting.
No,
Yeah,
it was
that was
bad.
bad.
No, it's bad.
Well,
Yeah,
you
it
don't want to
definitely-
get bit by anything, even if it's mildly venomous.
Well, yeah. I mean, ask
Nothing's good. It's
ask our
gonna
friend Dingo how a mildly venomous snake bite went for him. You know, he ended up being in the ER
Is
for.
he dead?
I think even
No.
Heidi
Oh.
was saying she got bit by something mildly, and it was.
Yeah, she ended up just. Heidi actually just got bit like last week by a mildly venomous snake.
Did she?
Wow, really?
Oh, crap.
Yeah, but she had just she said she had some like tickling in the back of her throat or something like that.
Nothing
and,
serious,
like
though.
some swelling, and
That's
but she took some like Benadryl or something like that, some allergy thing, and it went away thankfully.
That's good.
But she always keeps me up. She always has so many cool animals that they see, and yeah, I can't wait to get back out there and hang out and go doing some road hunting with those guys.
Oh, which actually, by the way, we need to bring up. Speaking of Africa,
Yes, Africa.
um,
Oh, Animal Crossing.
yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, I picked up another switch
Yep, switch for me.
because yes, Brian had to get in the game,
Yep.
and so
Yep,
his
I'm
island
in
is
the
in
game.
Africa
Ah.
and
in
is
Africa.
named the Reptarium.
Yeah, my island is the
Bruce
Reptarium.
has been begging me. He's like, I want to get on there and play with everybody.
And all of our family, because you set them up in whatever you want, and we're all Northern Hemisphere, so our whole family just picked Northern Hemisphere. So I'm like, no, he's going to be Southern Hemisphere. So we've been going over there fishing, getting different things because that's different.
It's been fun. It's been fun. By the way, Murphy says there's no sloth fund, Irish wolf hunt fund, and wine fund.
Ah, Murphy. I like Murphy Pink.
Dang, that's a
Yes.
tough one. I don't
No,
know.
it's not
I don't know
tough.
how to feel about
That's
this.
amazing. You should feel
Yeah.
happy.
Sherry said,
Female
yeah.
platypus.
Okay, I guess we're not going to get a male platypus. I've actually only seen one or two platypus in my life, so I don't know how like common. They must be hard to get.
I don't know anything about
I've
literally.
Never seen one at a zoo or
All
I think
know
the only time
is the cartoon.
I think the
They're in a
only
platypus.
platypus I've seen have been in Australia at Australian zoos.
which makes sense, right?
I don't think I've ever seen a platypus outside of
Is that where
Australia.
they're from? Australia?
Yeah, they're from Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. What else would they?
course.
Where,
Come on,
where else would
Where
they be
else
from?
would such weird thing come from?
Yeah, I mean,
Of
it's,
course,
yeah.
Lori.
Wow, gosh, it is getting late, guys.
I know.
So moly, man, this thing went by quick.
It did go by pretty fast.
Yeah, so-
What do you want to do?
Let's take a couple questions really quick from
Sure.
the thing, and then we'll get out of here, man. You guys got anything for Jessica? Oh, we got 666 again.
Oh,
Viewers.
dude, that
Can-
happens every time.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Can
You guys are-
maybe I can show? Maybe while we're waiting for questions to come in, because obviously this is live, so we have a little bit of delay. Jay, can you pull up Rick Ross "Wanna Race Me" meme? Can you race me meme? You guys have to see this fucking meme.
Really?
You guys know who Rick Ross is?
Of course.
So, dude, he posted this like funny ass meme. It might be that's not gonna be it. I don't know. It might be on
The video, or is it?
It's like a little clip. Like there's no copyright because it's
Yeah,
it's just came. Like I don't know. It just came out. Like
that's May 11th.
probably search
so,
it
yeah.
on
Yeah, I
YouTube or
don't see
whatever.
it, yeah.
potential. It's just the thing is wanna race me. It's just so
Wanna race
funny. He
me.
looks like a psychotic person, but maybe we won't see it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just
Doesn't. Yeah, I know this doesn't seem to be coming up.
there it is.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
The one, not the one below that's 5 seconds, because we don't know what's in
yeah,
that 3
yeah,
minutes. The
yeah.
5 second one.
Little Red
The-
Riding Hood.
Of course, we got an
The
ad.
5 sec.
You can
This
skip that ad. And
this
skip
is
one
the
second.
other one. Honestly,
Yeah, no, you're going to the 3 minute
what
one. We don't
it's
want
fine.
that.
Well, you know what? This thing just went to shit. Fuck it, can it? We'll go
Yeah,
on
we
to
didn't-
the
we didn't
next
go-
thing.
Yeah, we didn't go that one.
Anyways,
No worries, no worries. Let's see if there's some questions. I know I saw one more super chat over here. It was Blake just said platypus spawn 100% Aussie lane in Reptarium. Oh, I'd like an Aussie lane in Reptarium. We could do taipans, brown snakes, tiger snakes, colettes, colette snakes.
Well, that's not going to happen.
And then the platypus at the end, platypus at the end. So that's perfect. Let's see. Know where your girlfriend come on the podcast? Maybe one day.
maybe one day. We'll leave it at that.
Let's see. Can you do a video on the Lori ball? Sure. We could do that. I think we actually just shot something on, or no, that was today's video about the Lori pin, right? Lang? Yeah, so, or was it? Maybe, no, that was what I watched today. That's tomorrow's video, right? Yeah, so tomorrow's video, we do something on that. Can you go up just a second here? Luke says, love you guys all the way from Bristol, UK. It's getting late there, man. I hope that you're having a good night over in Bristol. Bristol is where there's a lot of TV production companies, ironically enough. That's where a ton of production companies. Yeah, Barcroft, I think, is out of Bristol. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. Do you guys see any other questions? Lori's reaction is priceless. I'm not sure which reaction to what.
Yes, Noah's girlfriend.
Dude.
What's Lori's Animal Crossing name? Your island name?
My island.
It's called Paradise. Hers is called Paradise.
My
Mine's
island
called
is
Trapland.
paradise.
Yeah, Trapland. Yeah, nice.
But, dude, people are like, oh, get your girlfriend on the podcast. I can't even see her in real life. How the fuck am I gonna get her on the podcast? I haven't seen her in months.
It's true. It's true.
Months.
Yeah, just
And I
total.
can't see her for more months because a fucking bat. Thanks.
Thank you, Bat. Yeah.
We're all affected.
Yes.
All right, let's end this.
I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. Hey, talking about
There's
Australia, holding my diamond. What does it say? Hey,
says,
talking
"Holding
from
my
Australia,
diamond."
holding my diamond. I think it's Python, but it says persons or something like that. You got this at my hips and my leg. What? I'm all over the
This
place.
is really going.
Just
down.
read.
Yeah, I don't know.
I see.
yeah.
Are you pumped for the croc monitor? And yes, I am.
Yeah, we are pumped for the
There you
croc
go.
monitor. Yeah, I mean, Bruce and Jessica. Let's end with this here. So obviously Bruce and Jessica are working hard on Beetlejuice right now, and then the croc monitor is going to be even a larger task.
Yes.
But I mean, you feel good about it.
Oh yeah, I think we're up to it. And then I've seen it's actually maybe making some strides even while it's still there at Forest.
Yeah.
So
well, that's
I think
good.
we got it.
Yeah, the penalty's a little worse with croc monitor.
Yeah,
than-
yeah. No,
than-
I definitely don't want to get bit by that. It'll be a lot worse than a leopard.
Yeah.
gecko.
A lot worse than like,
And
yeah,
that
remember
leopard
female-
gecko was
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah.
I will say that Beetlejuice took a little test bite on me too, and it wasn't so bad, but like I wouldn't want to get bit by a croc.
No, not a croc. No, not at all. So,
Yeah.
well, guys, that's awesome, man. Let's take us out of here, Noah.
Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. You have been checked in with the fam, with the crew. That's what we're just gonna call ourselves the crew, okay?
Crew.
We always
Yeah,
been
crew.
called the crew.
The
So we've
crew.
been checked in with the crew.
crew.
Another guest, Jessica. Thank you for coming on.
Yes.
Drop some comments. Let us know who else you want to have on.
Yep.
Maybe we'll just hit everybody on the crew. But until then, you guys been checked in. We're checking out. Peace.
Adios, guys. Love you guys.
Yeah.
See ya.
Adios, amigos.